Hello, amigo. Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is. Oh, I forgot I got that tincture all over my neck. This is your Friday Weed Nerd. We'll just leave it at that. I was gonna come on earlier today, around noonish. Then after I got off last night and looked around, I was like, "Oh shit! Looks like everybody's going live tomorrow." So I kind of decided to postpone it till a little bit later in the day. As the day progressed, things come up, right?
Like stories told.
Gotta get my chat brought up
Through
here.
the chat and the laughter, hearts unfold. Welcome to WEedNerdWorld. Come on in.
What's up? Special to the end, Cav Snake Oil. You ready to do your episode, Cav? I think you'd be a fucking good guest.
Mistakes we made, a growers bond.
I gotta get a hold of Adam too.
WEedNerdWorld.
What's up, T. Barrington Tastic? How you doing, my friend? I get my chat popped out
Readers and dreamers,
and
farmers
switch
and
to live chat. I suggest y'all do the
around the
same.
globe, the passion extends.
Neon Flower, fuck yeah!
Live chat
up,
was
brother?
like bees in the hive. So cool spirit keeps the love alive.
Jason Line 512. I've said that name a million
Rises
times.
high, wisdom shared.
Cheers, buddy. How you
Family built
doing?
on the seeds we've cared. Welcome
Right,
to
Barnmont.
WEedNerdWorld. Come on in.
I do love
Where the
this.
panels are
This little ditty here that Ryan put together.
tips and tricks, mistakes we made. A growers bond that'll never fade.
I hum this about as much as I used to hum the damn song, to be honest with you. I like it. I like it a lot. Hopefully you guys had a great week. My life's been a little up and down, but it is what it is. Fucking deal with it, right? What's up, Perma Sleep? I was a little bummed that I didn't go live a little earlier, but it is what it is. Yeah, it is what it is. Try not to stress much these days. That cortisol in your system will fucking kill you. And life's tough enough without trying to kill yourself from the inside out. Alright, what else we got here? I was rocking the prof before this. I'd probably just pick up where we left off there. Which one was I gonna play?
Ladies and gentlemen, better you ready for a real ride? Better me and Prof, we on the loose. Better it's an all-nighter. Go pack a lunch. Yeah.
I forgot which. There was one I listened to the other day. I was like,
turn the shit to a freak nip of some
play
sort.
that one.
It's gonna be some work. You should pack a lunch for it.
Drop it down, fuck it up, spread them out, back it up.
we're all in there. What's up, Smokey the Bastard? What are you smoking on?
Pack a lunch, pack a lunch, pack a lunch, pack a lunch, pack a
And
lunch.
tomorrow is the day that we lost.
Pack a lunch.
4 or 5 housewives outside mouth wide.
Seems
On my
like
day
just
on the south
yesterday.
side.
Still.
So I got Alzheimer's, slow style, Alpine in my downtime. Girl, you sturdy as hell. Speak 3 languages and I heard you read braille. I bet the
I'm gonna
motherfuckers
throw in a little bit of this extract. What we got here? An old socks, man. The soap.
Could be damaging.
Soap, not soap.
Is it Jennifer
Soap.
Aniston balancing on humanity?
Soap. You want to pack a lunch? That's one of my favorites. That's what this is, isn't
I
it?
was born.
Ah,
So I got Alzheimer's. Slow
Yeah, this is a
style,
good
Alpine
one.
in my downtime. Girl, you sturdy
Time
as
rack,
hell.
huh?
Speak 3 languages and I heard you read braille.
nice. A little
I bet the
jealous on
motherfuckers
that.
feeling me now. They was turning me down.
Your birthday's the 31st, huh?
Couple lean got me
Nice, I need to put that on my calendar.
Footage on the phones could be
Try to keep track of that. I'll do that right now, as a matter of
Is it
fact.
Jennifer Aniston balancing on humanity? Who's flexible at
I need to go through my books. There's so much like updating I've been trying to do behind the scenes. Uploading some of the older episodes, fine-tuning some bullshit. I need to condense a lot of my old scheduling books into one fucking bullshit.
Pack a lunch, pack a lunch, pack a lunch, pack a lunch.
Nice.
Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch. Pack a lunch.
Black Hannibal dressed like
Anybody else's birthday's coming up soon while I'm getting this calendar
You
out?
wanna act animal? I push the envelope, clipping the tech, look like a banana boat. 10th grade, I had thick like anime. My attitude keep you at bay. The Mandalay with the gift, the gab, I go get the bag. Then I pound my dogs like a rubber daz. I need a lap dance from a rap fan. Girl, show me you got drive like a dash cam. Yeah, I'm the captain, rolling the Afghan. I drop bombs on them like the Gap Band. Black bandana, tilting like Santana. I'm a cheap fuck, I wanna dine a Panera. I walk through your hood with a vendetta, yelling out, who the best nigga? Man, nutter. If I had 20 million, I gotta spend it. The lieutenant go Luke Cage. I gotta finish him. Parish women give me
go, Ty.
King, so kiss the bling of the ring and say hi, your eminence.
You are now in the book.
That's how a real nigga do it. Nothing changed but the mic when I'm interviewing.
That man
Me and
does
Prof,
got
we
some
got
bars.
bud
What's
by
up,
bud.
doctor?
All-nighter. Go back
I've
to
only got
lunch.
about a half a cup. I better get that pot going.
Yep.
Spread them out. Back it up. Run them out. Throw it up. Go to work. Pack a lunch. 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 Pack a lunch.
Operation Annihilation. Cheers to you.
Sparring soccer moms in the octagon. Spirit animal, Carmelone. I'm just thankful that they let me bring my dog along. I'm a wild motherfucker, I'll admit that.
Man,
Action boss.
fucking
Let's
one
keep
day
that.
under
Where you
them
look
babies
good,
under
kids
the
at?
8 different lights.
Mismatch.
Man, that tincture's
If I had
oily.
an
It's
opportunity
nice
to be
though.
greedy with booty, even
Oh,
if you need it,
you fucking notice the difference already. Lee's fattened up some overnight. I'm fucking praying.
Other lames over there, they're done for. Turn the shit to a freak.
Can't wait to get some of the
This will be
sexing
some
done
work
so
you
I
should
can,
fucking
man,
work
as
for.
soon as I
Drop
see
it
some
down.
final signs of some fucking females, man, I'm flipping.
Run 'em out.
Starting some new.
Go to work.
Pack of lunch, pack of lunch, pack of lunch. I've already got the second round started. But Colombian and that,
Pack a lunch. Drop it down.
why do I keep fucking, the face off and the moon bowl
Throw it up. Go to
is,
work.
next round.
Pack a lunch. 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 Pack a lunch.
Roly poly.
Pack a lunch.
Why roly poly? I'm using, what is that? Active Grow LED.
Big star.
Is, they used to sponsor me years and years ago. So I'm still using that lights. I've still got some I got a HLG, R-Spec in there. I got a regular 550. I've got some bunch of Mars lights that I run. It's time to really kind of upgrade, really, but until I get some shit going, I'm just gonna reuse. You know, all them lights are still good, but I'd like to update some of the shit. Make it back up north to one of my buddy's house. I stashed a bunch of shit at his house. Need to kind of go up there and grab some of that equipment. Shit, there for a minute I had grow shit stashed everywhere. Grow shit and tools. I'm an animal. Hopefully we'll get somebody popping in here soon. It's loading this fucking game working right up.
When I ain't even clean. Last man standing, first man home. I'm a clever motherfucker.
Can't wait to make some hash where I get fucking things around to where it make me some hash. Way overdue. Way the fuck overdue.
Can't find it, man. I swear I have no idea. I'm at your shows and I'm
that's good.
snoozing like a possum. You're at my shows like this is totally awesome.
Mushroom coffee. Ooh, the good kind or just regular mushroom coffee? Guess both are good. Thought about indulging. I still may. I had a couple capsules of the Melmac. Agnes sent. Cheers, Agnes. Allegedly.
I'm an animal. I'm in the club.
Oh no, I'm sure that Agnes still watches, but under a different name. I could be wrong. I know he has adopted a different name on social media.
Come up, take 'em out, hit 'em up, lay it on, take take it off, start again. Line them up, look them down, pick them up, take them out, hit them up, lay it on, take it off. I'm heavy as a hippopoto that hit the lotto.
Yeah, I'd like to at least get a couple flowers off anyway. The lights that I got still are producing. I got HPS fucking shit in the garage if I wanted to hook up some HPS.
And fuck the record sales, I ain't even counting.
But I don't want that power bill. As far as that goes, man, lights in general, holy shit, man. I went and fucking bought just regular light bulbs today. When fucking regular light bulbs are crazy right now. Fucking $15 for a 4-pack. Blew my fucking mind. What's up, T. Barrington? It's not the 20, but I guess we dabs up. Always a good time for a dab, right?
Lined up like someone shooting a free throw. Line them up, look them down, pick them up, take them out, hit them up, lay it on.
And neck aches, I put a bunch of tincture on there for the show.
Pick them up, take them out, hit them up, lay it on, take it off, start again.
What's up, Phil? Oh, that's green. Cheers, Miranda. How are you doing today?
Line them up, look them down, pick them up, take them out, hit them up, lay it on, take it off,
start again.
Line them up, look them down, pick them up, take them out, hit them up,
well.
Take it off, start again. Line them up, hook them down, pick them up, take them out, hit them up, lay it on.
Yeah, it's kind of dragging my feet a little bit. Debating on whether or not to come on now or later, since I kind of had already messed up my time. But I didn't want to fucking wait too long, I guess.
I'm jumping, I'm swimming, I'm climbing, I'm flying,
yeah, I'm usually, I try to keep a perpetual going. Once things are usually set up and running, I try to keep it perpetual. But I've changed tactics over the last few fucking years. Just to, whatever I can do to keep my lights on or grow. If it's one, I'll take one. Sometimes you have to change, you have to move.
Welcome to Pookie Baby. I'm yours.
You be back. Oh, go eat, buddy. Hopefully by then we'll have a weed nerd or two hanging out.
Knocked his ass out and kissed him on the cheek.
Dong Fat, how are you, my friend?
I run the city, Mike. I thought I was some cleats, You ain't never heard someone like this upon the beat,
Yeah, I was thinking about running the camera. Actually, I was fucking with it a little bit before I fired it up. Just trying to run a camera in there for when I wanted to fucking hang out with you guys in the grow room there. Might end up just taking the laptop in there and setting that up for those days or whatever. It's like right now, there's shit I can be doing in there while I'm hanging out with you guys.
If you build it, homie, they will come. If you turning up to save me some, drop down to get your ego on. I don't care for boring people.
Nice. There's a couple Florida weed nerds. Arizona, there should be a ton of weed nerds out that way today. I don't ever run a tent for veg. If like right now them girls are in a tent, that's just because there's space. I save those tents for flower. Fucking I don't need a room for veg or a tent for veg. They can be out in the open. Light interruptions doesn't hurt plants and beds, in my opinion. Fucking if that's the case where I'm gonna be in there and fucking around all the time, it's just a 24-hour veg. Make it work to my schedule. Yeah. I agree. I actually got the space to fucking do more, but right now I can't. Can't justify setting up multiple rooms at the moment. I just don't need it. I do have the space.
Shit on the shit now. I think I will go catch a body. Fuck your bitch, fuck your bitch, fuck your bitch, fuck your bitch, and then I will go take a potty. No teriyaki.
Need a roommate before I need a fucking before I need a fucking another grow room. Okay, I don't even know if I want a roommate, but I've considered it.
Lost control of a killer. Getting bigger. Sing this. One time. Two time.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for the weather to break here in Michigan. Rafter. Thanks to you guys that went over to Rumble and hit that follow button. What's up, Rafter?
Doing good, doing good. Saw you were on, and no one was chiming in, so why not enjoyable with some friends, some special Weed Nerd friends.
Right on.
And I actually got a white shirt to contrast because somebody was complaining before, like, oh, I can't see between the dark and the dark. And I was like, okay, fine. But I also was like, because at the time it was like a little late at night and I'm trying to not shine blue light on my face all the time. So what's white? It has more blue. So what most people saw was like the rent, like 3,500K, kind of like 3,000 ish. Yeah, I like that little bit of a. I do the blend during the day, or like more towards the end, but just mostly so it could like brightly shine. Because with this one, it's just like a little desk lamp that can like fold out and stuff. What I like about it is that I can switch that's full with everything. This is the red that I have like 2 hours before I go to bed kind of deal. And then this is like full on, like, okay, during the day, I can switch it. Yeah, that one's good. It's a good bounce off.
I see all these red light therapy lights and shit nowadays, and I think back to like the
Grow
blurple
light, bro.
days.
But that's us. We were ahead of curve.
Yeah. I was like, man, that's the same thing I think every time I think of the blurples. I'm like, man, I was making my skin all nice when I was working under the blurple all those years ago and shit. Yeah, like you say, we're ahead of the curve there.
Well,
Kind of funny.
you're more East Coast. You're getting that for what 6 months ish. You're getting a chill, so you're more likely indoors. I know you're an outdoor worker, but when you're off, more likely to be indoors in the winter. So that like, yeah, red light therapy, I could see it, to not get cabin fever. I've never been indoors without like where I had to be indoors long enough. So where I felt that more so when I'm sick. That's the only thing I could really attribute that to is like, oh, I've been sick for like a week to 2 weeks. That's when you're like, I just need to get out. Little
I get
walk,
like
5 minute
two or
walk.
3 days, man. I get fucking antsy
Yeah.
with cabin fever. I do got to get out and just get some kind of interaction, a little bit of sun or light.
Part
It
of the
helps.
reason I walked away from like more microbiology background for my majors, not that I didn't love it, but it was just like, so I'm just standing around measuring shit for like 80% of the time, and then the other time is like just me waiting for results, which is, hey, it's a cushy job, and you got paid well if you climbed the ladder and did got higher uh like degrees and stuff like that. But I like working with my hands. I like breathing in actual fresh air that was made by plants. Like, and I get that. You don't get that in the labs that I was in. It was just all sterile, recycled fucking air. And then a lot of the compounds I was dealing with is like, you are going to go to the hospital if you don't wear the proper things and treat this with respect. You will very likely like lose an organ. like you could burn like some of the compounds are like you could burn your skin off, like clear off within seconds. So just make sure. Yeah, that's another thing. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't think a plant is going to do that to me. And if it does, like, it's probably because I'm allergic. So screen myself before that. Yeah, super scary stuff. I guess the middle ground. I didn't really consider tissue culture as like uh, something I could make money off of. Maybe if I met that middle ground, I just when I got into horticulture, it was more like, oh hey, I'm interested in. I'm already know so much from cannabis. It was just literally easy A's.
Oh shit, sorry.
Oh, you're good, man.
I fucking moved my
Yeah.
tray and my pinky tapped the phone there. Sorry.
Ah, no worries. I've been enjoying the jam sesh. Yeah, I got my coffee. Smash. Yeah.
You must
Cheers.
be a cold
Caffeine
coffee
cheers.
guy, huh?
I'm both. Mornings I'll take it, but I enjoy my cold coffee. It's dude, it's 80 I you know what? I'm not gonna be that guy from that doesn't have to deal with winter saying what he has to deal with. But it is warm enough to enjoy cool coffee. I'm not gonna rub anything in anyone's. I get it. I've seen a couple of videos where it's like, oh yeah, the West Coast guy on the phone with the East Coast guy. Yeah, I'm just at the beach with my shirt off. Oh, hold on, man. I need to go in the shade. I'm getting a burn here almost. And the guy on the other side's like full on ski mask. Just like, yeah. Well, if they advised us on the news, if I go outside, that we'll die. I'm just like, yeah, not gonna be that guy.
This is my favorite
No.
kind of computer work cup. It says, "Don't quit your daydream,"
No.
with all the coffee all over the side of it. There. Well, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hi, Eagle. Good to see you. Been a
Great to
while.
Buddy.
see you.
I
Yeah.
changed phones. I just realized I could go to my old phone, find the meeting ID, and move it to this phone. I've been
Nice.
meaning to come on over the last few Weed Nerd Worlds I've been listening to. Today I finally did it, just getting off work.
Right on. When you say work, what are you doing these days?
Well, I work. Okay, I moved out of North County. I shut down my warehouse a couple of months ago because once pounds got under 1,000 a pound, I was on a sinking ship. So my nephew runs a legit place, 2,800 lights called Parlay down in downtown LA. I live in
Nice.
Hollywood now, but then realistically, I work at the cannabis a shift or two and have business there. But I do catering. My brother, Sheffy, has been a movie catering company. Well, he works for the big movie catering company. So today we were on NCIS Origins on the Paramount lot, breakfast and late lunch, and then the first part of the week we were on a Netflix series called Bad Thoughts. It's like in season two, and the week before that we were on a Toyota commercial, just doing like the catering for the crew and the staff. A big thing. I eat good and pays a lot more. And when the industry picks up again, so I've only really been up here since like mid-December. Uh, I'll probably get into Teamsters because the catering is a Teamster local, and the benefits and the wage and the overtime. Yeah, I can't make that much working in a legal cannabis grow, no matter how much experience I have. But at my nephew's place, yeah, it's all high tech. It's 2,800 lights,
Wow.
uh, all the bells and whistles, getting 3, 4 pounds of light. Um, and yeah, hard to fit in on that crew. There's like already a dozen guys, mainly younger Latinos, that bust ass. Even in the catering job, the rest of the guys in the crew are mainly. Latinos, and I'm 63 years old. I'm working as hard as I can. Yeah, I'm not a young pup anymore that can fucking bust ass like that. But oh, everything's good. I went through what do you call it? It was like well, a lot of shit I feared change. Humans don't like change, but after a couple years of running the warehouse and uh, the overhead, and the price, and the pressure of it all, oh, I stuck to the bitter end. But I finally like had a moment of clarity where I was like, yeah, what other opportunities? There's got to be something. But like I supported myself through growing weed for 35 years, my own thing, not working for somebody else. Um, yeah, I got squeezed out. Like, like when I called a bunch of my buddies that, I remember thinking as the years went on and they threw in the towel, oh, they were just, like they were just in for the money or and then when I was in the situation and I was calling, they're still my friends and stuff. Uh, like, dude, we told you, we told you this. What was gonna, because it was such a crisis. It was like a identity crisis, because I didn't want to give up that. But yeah, I thought of it like this. The moment of clarity was like, yeah, the guy that owned the vacuum store and all the other brick and mortars in my lifetime I saw got squeezed out. They loved what they were doing too and fought as hard as they could. But who won? Wall Street. I thought I could outlast those guys. Fuck no, dude. Like once the price got under 1,000 a p, which that's and I don't care how good it is, that's the fucking price at scale. Uh, yeah, there's not. Yeah, I couldn't. I couldn't. Nope, that was the breaking point. You know. So yeah, but I'm happy, and you know, uh, yeah, and I know you love dogs. My little Herbie, my last of the Chihuahua pack, he passed right around the same week that I
Oh,
moved.
sorry, bud.
But that freed me up because he had heart disease and was 14 years old, and over the last couple of years, a lot of my day to day, or where I could go, what I could do, what kind of traveling I could do, was was I sacrificed a lot of that stuff because I had to care for my bub. Um, so everything works out as it's supposed to. Yeah. Um, yeah. Smoking good old weed. We grow blue shoozy and we got the toad venom and every kind of candy, gelato, cross, and we got some Gorilla Glue we're harvesting this week. I do a shift or so down there. Um, but that's like $20 an hour job. That's what it is. Now I have an opportunity once the final licensing gets, they've been 2 years and like millions of dollars invested in this. My customer is opening up a 400 light grow, and I guess he's got me tapped to manage that. So I'm looking forward to, because yeah, as I don't work with the plant on a day to day, that's my medicine really. Like smoking it and consuming it's part of it, but uh, yeah, in the last month or so, that's why I go down there and pull a shift like every week or when they need some because even though I get paid for it, oh, I do it for free just to have hands on the plants and I've learned a lot because as much as I have 35 years experience, that's in like the old school methods. Where like that was even part of my dilemma. Yeah, I could pull two a pound on a good day. I to get three and a half, four, five. Um, that takes investment, like these stock tanks and fertigation and forced air heating and really controlling all the set points and data and under canopy lights and all this Tech, well, over the last 6 months, or maybe it's been longer, I've learned a lot. My nephew John, who when he introduced me to everyone at his job, he runs the place at the Grove. He's like, yeah, this is my uncle, the guy that taught me everything. Well, when he was in college, he didn't like to drive all the way back up to mom's house. He'd come to my house on the weekend, help me change water in like an 8 liter in a bedroom. But that's what got him started. And yeah, he's like a master. Like if there's somebody that's big master fucking grower, this is him. Because he runs 2,800 fucking lights and does it with like a third of the crew that most facilities of that size. Well, the guy that owns the place, I mean, that's his business. Yeah, he's tripled, he's tripled the amount of lights in the last couple of years, but he hasn't had to triple the amount of workers, because that's how you make money. I mean, even those places. Yeah, I mean, they're on like the only way you could stay, like my nephew calls them all the big homies, like the only grows, they all communicate here in LA. They're all down in the warehouse district of down by LA. Big homies, like, 1,000 lights it up. Like, and even as he's given advice to the guy, I'm gonna probably run his place. He's like, yeah, dude, as soon as you get that 300, 400 light thing going, you're gonna realize you need 2,000 lights to stay. It's like either you get with that or you get squeezed out. Like, 100 lighters.
So when you at least talk about that many lights, are they still offering breaks for
Oh, dude,
throwing up the
I'll tell you,
LEDs? Are they lights are
no,
pretty much almost
yeah,
free, right?
yeah,
When
but
you
let me
switch.
tell you, that place went through the whole rebate thing, got the money and the boss, and no, they switched back to HPS. They got the
Oh
rebate,
shit!
like, oh, we use them in veg. We have two-tier veg. We have like these huge two-tier veg.
I was just about to say, yeah, that makes
They use
sense. Yeah.
LEDs there, but like the quality of the weed and the yield and all that, that's under HPS. It's under those double-ended, way high. Like some of the stuff is crop steering is part of it. It's crop steering. Like, a lot of the tech that um, these guys are doing. Uh, yeah, and I get it because I grew dank. Like okay, just like the cannabinoids, if you push the terps, you're going to lose some of the uh, uh, cannabinoids. If you push the cannabinoids your percentage, you're going to lose. I think it's the same scale works with the yield. When you push the yield, yeah, but we grow good shit, but it's still like top end mids. You know what I mean? Right? Because that's like in 2012, I told a lot of we had people pitch me and a couple. Then and I ran like a 70 light warehouse, 70 light in 2007, and used the same method that I had learned from 91. You can't scale bank, right? You can't scale bank. That's the that's the that's that's right. I've been doing that for a lot of years, right? And it seems like the market and the reality of what's going on in the thing, you know, like we're switching because like the big homies say the candy era is coming to an end. What we call candies are all the purple gelato runs, Skittles. Uh, we grow hundreds of pounds. Like our trim crew, which is what do you call it? We don't hire them there. We hire a guy, 50, 60 people. There's a pound in a couple of days. Um, and the customer, yeah, they like the candies. That's been what's fueled the business the last 10 years. But we call it candies. Like, you know what I'm talking about genetically. where they all taste a little different, they grow a little different, but the damn high, because I have a bunch of them. Yeah, it's all the same. Like when we have a few other things, like oh, what I got this week that I'm impressed with. There's R11. There's a cut that's being grown called R37. Oh, it's wasting here. Like, I grew for effect. Taste and flavor was okay. That's all part of it. Bag of peel, but what really mattered was effect. But if you focus on effect, you probably aren't going to be getting 4 or 5 pounds of light, off the same strains. That's just what I believe. And like I say, I do have decades of experience, so like I don't care what other people. I just go by my own experience,
Man, I just want to say I totally agree. So don't feel like you're a loner in that mindset. Uh like if when I would go to the dispo like 9 years ago, I did not care
Well,
what
that's what
they
gives me.
said. I smelt, and then I also went by like, hey, okay, I'd rather have this Bubba that like is at 17 than some whatever at 28. That's like 10 points higher. Like, yeah, okay, and I'm not giving real numbers. I'm just giving an
Yeah,
example.
no.
So yeah, I'm totally with you.
Well, we're all
And
on a learning thing here. Like, a lot's transpired in the last decade, we'll say, of cannabis grow tech and industry, whatever, however you want to describe it. Yeah, and that's and even myself as like right now I'm living with my brother, but well, I'm supposed to go look at a place this weekend. Yeah, I'll probably just home like my working. The cost of living is fucking SoCal where yeah, the rents and food costs and everything's super high, but yeah, it's not much cheaper at other places. Yeah, like if I stayed at the cannabis thing, I would have needed two of those.
You're cutting in and
Have
out,
enough
buddy.
money to do it. Right? And yeah, even oh yeah, I think you know what happens when we turn it off. So I don't need Wi-Fi.
Cheers, Carlton.
Cheers, gentlemen.
You got a nice mic.
I actually sent you a text back
To
around
me
Christmas.
because you've gone through a lot of changes. The other few
Sorry.
weeks ago, you you shared a bit more about some of the stuff you went through, and you're always like to me. I look when I don't know how to say it right, but like you were always an inspiration that like yeah, just keep your nose to the grindstone and don't let it eat you alive, and good things will keep happening. Go up and down and all around. That's part of life. And like, yeah, some of the your trials and tributes and all that, or whatever, were like, okay, fucking not the only guy. And even in this, as I felt like I failed, I had to accept it. Like, well, no, I felt like the last Mohican in my area, as far as like, yeah, I was running the warehouse with like 35 lights, two firing chambers in one bed. Yeah, no, that was like a sinking ship. I was on a sinking ship for like 2 years where I was like, God, my what do you call it? Yeah, I don't give up easy. None of us. Well, I mean, some people do, but I was like in it for I thought I was a lifer. I was in it for the long haul. Oh, the market will come back around. The value for craft. Because I was like, oh, I'm craft. Yeah, well, you still got squeezed out. You know what I'm saying? And so did like most everyone else. You know what I mean? It's hard to like I made a living. My best times when I was like had most going on. Yeah, I had like bedrooms, 8 lights here and six lights over there and garages and shit, and was fucking balling. And then it gets to the point where, yeah, I wasn't making any money the last couple years, is surviving, keeping the grow going, get the bills paid, 6,000 a month power, and we the rent, and a little bit of labor. Like shit, I had when I had smaller amounts, I had people working for me. At the end, yeah, I couldn't afford that. The months that I brought in people to help me defoliate and help me do shit. At the end of the month, when I looked at where well, I didn't have any money profits, yeah, that's where the profits went. So I started just doing it all myself, which was yeah, a lot of work. At first, I wasn't used to doing all that shit myself.
Well, the biggest part of your story, or what I can relate to there, is fucking you do. I did it for so long. It becomes ingrained in your identity, like you say. You shot those lights. For me, it was like a twofold, buddy, because I found myself single. You know what I mean? Marriage, it just kind of, and I shut the light off at the same time. So that left me with both of my like solid identities. To like, now, who the fuck am I? What do I
Yeah,
do? What do I like to do? I
yeah.
don't
Like
know.
still liking what I do. I'll still just out of nature say I'm a grower, even though technically at the moment, no, I'm not a grower. I might work for a grower or a grow, but like, yeah, 35 years, that was the proudest accomplishment I ever was able to do is become that because back when it all started, yeah, that was a big thing to support yourself through shit, dude. We just grew a few pounds and made fair living and all that. Had middleman and the whole structure of it helped a lot of people. Now it's like come down to this squeeze, um, which is basically Wall Street. I call it Wall Street, but the investors and the state, Uncle Sam, or now the feds are coming in. Wait till they raise the taxes for that. Even in Michigan, right?
They're creaming us here in Michigan.
Yeah, the
You know
tax.
what's funny though with that, buddy? Uh, I'm seeing here in Michigan, it's like the big box mentality. They've done themselves in here, and it's full circle. I was just talking about this yesterday. In Flint, like the dispos are coming back. Like we had like the big box come in, and they bought out like all the dispos that were around. You know what I mean? The caregiver dispos. And now that the market's crashed, they're pulling out, and the people that owned them before are popping back up, going, you know what, get out of our town. You know what I mean? So I think there's a resurgence of, people that are,
Even
you know,
even the testes, like I realized, like you got to remember, I don't know how many million people across the country turn 20 or 21 every year, and even I still attend. Like Sunday, I'm going to a sash event. It's like I guess legacy or black market type of lounge, because yeah, you can't have smoking lounges or that's illegal, but they're around. Um, Yeah, most of the people that show up are like in that 18, well, it's 18 to 29 demographic. That's like an official demographic. And they grew up with legal cannabis. So yeah, they started off as kids at cookies and whatever else. Those people are now over paying the taxes and buying the mids would easily turn back because like it used to be in every little social circle there was the guy that was the weed guy, right? Well, all that's gone, like middlemen and like people don't. I made most of my living off of selling less than pounds to a lot of my rural customers, and then they sold ounces and stuff and made their fair buck. Uh, yeah, that got squeezed out over the last 10 years. Guess it's almost 10 years of. here, Prop 64, rec, whatever you call rec. Like, even that name is, what does that mean? Recreational cannabis, like, but that's what it's called. Yeah, I mean, I voted for it, both 215 and yeah, California, we don't have any medical. We were the like one of the, I live right now in West Hollywood. West Hollywood's the place that through the AIDS epidemic is what fueled the Prop 215 in 98. No, there's not a single place. And a lot of the shops that are just legal dispensaries, oh, you see them just closing down one after another. But what there's not a shortage of is what they call smoke shops, like the head shops. Fuck, there's like 10,000 of them, but I don't know how. A lot of them sell gas, the fucking legal fucking nitrous. It's not even nitrous, and other bullshit. And I don't know, I don't go to, I don't go into those places. Uh, they must be selling something else under the table because they're
The
making 20.
creatine is one of the things I've seen that's being abused up there. There's another one called Feel Good. Them shots are fucking dangerous as fuck.
Yeah, basically fake shit.
And then the gas up there in Holt, when I was up in Holton Lake, you could go into almost any smoke shop up there, buy tanks, and fucking get in your car. And a lot of the youth up there, the kids,
Yeah.
that were fucking under 21, yeah, 18 to 21 and under, were fucking crashing their vehicles, fucking hitting them tanks, driving down the fucking road. It was becoming a super epidemic up there.
Cannabis is a
That,
gateway drug for corporations to sell more chemicals to screw up more kids.
yeah,
Go.
exactly. Exactly. And from what I know about that, the nitrous thing, that's all like Eastern Bloc Russian business people that are, found a little. Yeah, I mean, eventually they'll probably ban that shit, but maybe not because it's been years. And yeah, I see them on the sides of the curbs. People just dump the tanks on the curbs. These little like $20 ones, $50. They have every size. Flavored. They have all these flavors. I did some of that shit. No, that's not. The industrial auto fucking nitrous is fucking at least nitrous. Like I read an article that says, yeah, there's some nitrous in there, but there's a bunch of other shit in there. That's how they like get past the regulations. It's not pure nitrous, which nitrous is pretty basic.
Well, that's
Fuck.
big business for anyway. How can we expand our profits? Add a little of this. That's why it's big business,
Well,
and what they dish us gets shittier and shittier. That's why our food's fucked up. That's why half the shit we get from big business is fucked up because they continuously, it's profit, profit. How can we make more, more, more? Their addiction's money straight out. They don't give a shit
yeah,
about
And not only that, if the old chemical isn't getting the addiction job done for them, then they go, okay, let's add some new chemicals to make sure we keep everybody addicted.
right.
yeah. And I'm sure that this big conglomerate industry that's getting ready to buy out cannabis has got botanists working on like, well, wait, can't we like? I'm sure, and I'm pretty sure that if they put all the breeding that we put into making the best cannabis for medicine and getting stoned and flavor and taste into like making it an addictive thing like tobacco, alcohol. Those are the most profitable. Like I'm sure that the investors are thinking, yeah, well, why isn't this stuff addictive? Right? Because addictive is profits, right? Whether it's Cheetos, nacho, Doritos, sodas, like all these companies that
Carbs, starches, yeah.
yeah,
It's everything
diet in,
because they want
they
us to
got,
be sick enough to
yeah,
not think properly.
Not think
But
properly, not think for ourselves, not put up a
yeah,
fight. Yeah, yeah, right on, Green
yeah,
Patch, right
yeah.
on.
yeah.
They got it. And as much as we are trying to put up a fight and make a stand, but dude, they don't even give a fuck about us. We're in their book, we're dead.
I keep
We're all
saying
middle,
that if we
right?
all just did not go to work for like 3 days, it's over, man. They
No,
can't
that's it.
survive.
They say that if we just didn't like stop our spending for 3 days,
Yeah.
right? That because as much as these companies have billions of dollars, they need this giant. That's why the internet slows down in the evening when all the transactions are
And
taking up
that's
the bandwidth, right? They need these giant amounts of money that happens every day, billions of dollars. And
and
hey,
that's the point.
today was a
Vote with your
boycott.
dollars.
I'll tell you, today's a boycott. I live in LA, dude. Traffic is like the worst you can ever imagine, especially on a Friday. This morning, I had to go all the way out to the catering yard out in, if you're not from this area, it's like 30 miles normally total traffic. Then go back to the set on Paramount. And then I was down at the Grove and then back to Paramount. Dude, there was no traffic. So there was some effect. People didn't go to work today in LA. Now, I don't know how it went around the end, but if you read those things, the boycott on the 30th, it also like said, don't spend money, don't shop, don't do this, don't do that. Yeah, people would have to inconvenience themselves, right? Like even if your credit card due was due today, well, shouldn't have paid the late fee. People aren't going to sacrifice, I get it. We went to work today because, well, fuck, gotta work, you know? Um,
They
yeah, we're
make
gonna have to,
us think, though, that we have to work. That's the
yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah.
We
No, they
don't
got us.
actually have to work.
Like when I talk about Wall Street and what I was saying about we're dead, they don't even care about your kids. They're going after your kids' kids. They have 100-year plan, right? When they're in those boardrooms figuring out how they're gonna turn this into a $1 trillion business or whatever. Um, yeah, like and most of us are on like a day to day. It used to be like month to month, maybe a couple months. No, we're like we're basically like hustling day to day to survive, or at least they have us thinking that. You're right, Miranda. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we're being bamboozled big time overall. The amount
Oh,
of
yeah.
bullshit that's going on is just as I grew up and went through Nixon and Reagan and every other bullshit. Some days I pay attention to shit. I'm like, is this? When am I going to wake up from? Like, what is fucking happening? And my old partner, he's going back. He lives in Germany half the year. Dude, you think we're divided here? They're more divided in Germany, and I'm sure it's way around the whole world. Because I'm pretty sure these big conglomerates or the corps, they've long figured out the most profitable, uh, what do you call it, status quo is when everyone's divided, right? Because then, we're just humming along. We're not doing shit about environment, which is whatever side of that you're on. No, we pollute too much. We don't have enough resources. We need to, no, we're worried about Epstein files and fucking ICE and all this other bullshit, these distractions that never stop, like every day. And then
Yeah.
the politicians and whatever, what's really happening as far as like the things humanity needs to do to make your children's children have a life as plentiful as most of our life. Because yeah, I mean, I've hit the skids before, and wasn't that hard to get your shit back together? Oh no, no. Like I realized, yeah, trying to get my shit back together in this era is double the cost of fucking everything is like doesn't match the amount of income. Like the income indisparities, like part of the squeeze here. Like what, tenth of 1%, or even if it's 1%. I read a mean thing today. I don't know how this shit's true. They say they had all the big names, Bezos, uh, Musk. If they lost 99% of their wealth, they would still have more money than 99% of the people on Earth.
Wow.
Because right? And that's true. I believe, I don't know. I mean, it could be, a little fibbing in the math, but no, and that's. I think if you really dig in history, when big cultures had fallen, that was like one of the when people finally say fuck it, I'd rather die than live this way, right? Is when and normally it's when the rich, whether it was the kings, the church, whoever took too much of the money, right? And there wasn't enough for anybody else, and the opportunities and everything else. And we're right close to that breaking point, I think, where you know, I, I don't have kids, but my brother has kids. I live with my couple nephews. They work their fucking ass off. They'll not have they can't get ahead. Not in today's
So
deal.
I'll say, like, I lost my job in September or something like that. And like I'm thinking, oh my God, like what am I gonna do? Like I don't have any money, because we've been brainwashed to think that way. I
Yeah,
literally started my own business. I'm doing really well. Actually, I've had clients this whole week. So you can do
yeah.
it and you can get
No,
out of the rat
that's
race if you want to.
yeah, and you just got to keep your chin up and like believe in yourself, and good energy is part of it. Don't get sucked into the negative energy.
Absolutely. Believe in yourself is the biggest part of that whole equation. The minute
Mhm.
it all changes. It did for me
I
too.
know. I,
2024,
I
everything flipped.
I
I got a
used to
job I
walk
love
around.
now.
I used to walk around with more money than I knew what to do with, and that was part of my fucking thought that was success. Yeah, like I said, I went 2 years. I wasn't hardly making anything but keeping the grow going. Yeah, money don't mean shit, dude. It ain't even real. I know you need it to survive and all that, but yeah, first you got to get over like tying your mental health and your success or your feelings about yourself to your wealth status or whatever.
Get over all your issues and your traumas. Yep. Move forward.
Yeah, yeah.
What up, Eags?
What up, man?
How you
Had to get
been?
rid of some of that coffee right quick.
That'll
These
happen.
long
It catches
episodes
up.
can get you sometimes, yeah.
Good to see you,
Cheers to
buddy.
Mr. Brett there in chat. That's a cat I work with every day. Cheers, brother.
Awesome.
I know, right? I like it when the two can combine sometimes.
For
It's
sure.
it's rare, but that's awesome.
Right? Right. So, cheers, Miranda. I didn't get the proper chance to
Cheers.
say hello. We had a good conversation rolling at the time.
For sure.
Carlton as well. Carlton, you don't usually smoke. You're more of an edible guy. So I see the cigarette. I don't know what kind of brand cigarette you're smoking, but Miranda, what are you smoking on? Are you smoking right at the moment? Oh, 2 for 2. Oh, man.
I
Yeah,
just ate some
Man.
mushrooms though. I just ate some mushrooms and some THC.
Oh, that's extra
Okay,
nice.
that counts, I guess.
I
see
just
this.
I just
Now I'm
popped
gonna smoke a cigarette.
I don't take mushrooms often, but when I have, and then I smoke a cigarette because I'm addicted to them, there's an immediate feeling that it's not good. Like mushrooms make me like I can take acid. It doesn't really fuck with my cigarette thing, but when I draw on a cigarette when I'm high on mushrooms, it's like death. It's like this weird like they don't go good.
I get that on
Yeah,
commercial
and
cigarettes
then
now for sure.
there's
Like I
times
can't
when
smoke.
like when I'm high on mushrooms, weed tastes like getting stoned is like meshes with it perfectly. Like, yeah, I probably wouldn't take mushrooms if I was out of weed. I'm never out of weed, but like, I especially like on the tail end of the trip. Yeah,
You
weed's
gotta
good.
take the right dose. I find if I take too much, I can't even drink a glass of water. It feels weird. But
Yeah.
if I take a gram, I have a nice buzz, nothing
Yeah,
too crazy.
Yep.
yeah.
I find the
I've
same thing. Overboard on mushrooms can take you deep.
I like the
Yeah, been
Miramax,
there.
or what they call it. But a lot of these like more potent mushrooms, I haven't found the right. I guess what golden teachers, the old school mushrooms, which hardly anybody has those anymore. They have all these penis envy and this and that and all these really
I
potent
just
ones.
ate that. I
Yeah,
ate a mix of Jedi mindfuck and
Yeah,
golden teacher.
I have some
yeah, I like
Natalensis
the
here.
golden.
That's one of my favorite.
I spent
What
most
is
of my
it?
life just tripping on the golden teachers. That was like what mushrooms were. Some of them were better than others, but they were just going. This new era.
Natalensis.
Oh my god, I still didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Natalensis. Natalensis.
Oh, I've never heard of those ones.
South African strain. Very nice.
Oh, I bet. I also have some Trinity, but I've been laying off those ones because I've been getting like super emotional on them. So I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, that can go good or bad on you.
Yeah, yeah. I did quit smoking cigarettes, but I started again. So
Oh,
Yeah,
I have another date set for March 3rd, which is the anniversary of my sister's death, which I think would be the perfect time to quit again.
I
so
stopped
so
quitting
what
the
brought
penis.
up the relapse? Now that's a good question. What brought on the relapse? I guess.
You know what? I had this stupid tooth pulled. I was like sitting at home. I was bored.
That's the
And
time you're not supposed to smoke.
I
that's when I smoke the most is when I'm bored.
Yeah,
know. Yeah, you
If my
do.
hands are idle, no, I have to smoke.
it's an
That's
insidious
me.
addiction because I'm a drug addict. I've had all kinds of addictions and gotten through them. Yeah, sugar and nicotine are like such insidious ones.
Yeah.
I had some blood work done, and they said, "Oh, you're pre-diabetic. Try to cut back on sugar and stuff." And I did for a few weeks, and like, yeah, no. Like I'm a '60s baby. I was born on Captain Crunch. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like even those days, like, yeah, I bought fruit and I did some things. I remember the day I decided, fuck it. I went and bought a chocolate cake and just fucking ate half of it with ice cream. Like, yeah, because there's like yeah, it's addictive. It's fucking fully addictive.
Yeah, it is.
that's one of my guilty pleasures right there. And it's one of the most fucking damaging ones as well. Too much white sugars fucking make your body, it actually causes body aches. Too much sugar does. It fucks with you in a lot of ways. And it's my hardest thing to give up. Right now, my worst thing is these damn Walmart donuts I've got behind me. I went and bought a 6 pack today. I don't know what they put in that, whatever that fucking filling is they put in there is fucking, my eyes light up and I fucking practically see colors and shit when I bite into them motherfuckers. They're dangerous.
I think I posted on that on my Instagram. There's a whole thing that breaks down what's in a donut. Yeah, it's all toxic shit. Don't eat that shit, man.
Yeah. Well, all the foods have been like, yeah, th- they've done a number on it now. Part of like our catering, like at least my brothers and what I participate in is like we call it farm to set, where we source all of our shit at the farmers market, vegan, uh, other options on the line. We feed a couple hundred crew members a day. Uh, you know what I realized because every Wednesdays and Sundays I go to the farmers market and pick up all the stuff for the we need. Uh, yeah, it's organic, but what it really is vine ripened. Like, yeah, when we have heirloom tomatoes, they're good for like a day or two, even if you refrigerate them, because they were grown. And like, okay, part of what our hustle is um, all the people at farmers market, they don't take what they don't sell back to the farm because that day at the farm they pick the 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 the, the next day's product, right? So they sell what they sell, and then we end up capitalizing on. I get there. The market's from like 9 to 1. I get there at 12:30, and basically swoop up all the stuff that they didn't sell, but it's all vine ripened, right? The strawberries, all of it. Where anything else, even at Sprouts, Whole Foods, anywhere that has to go through a distribution model to be put on the shelf, yeah, they pick that shit weeks early and they ripen it through a bunch of means,
And by the way,
right?
there's scientific evidence that shows that if you eat a tomato right off the vine within like 24 hours, there's a huge difference in the microbiome and the nutrient profile that you get from that versus something that's even been picked for a few days, let alone picked
Yeah,
green and gas ripened and shipped across the world.
yeah, gas ripen. Yeah, that's how they do it.
I
Yeah.
would think
Nothing's
even it,
ripe anymore.
yeah, it's got to be the reverse at that point. It's starting to break
Yeah,
down. You know what I mean? It's not the healthy microbes, it's the opposite. It's the ones that are starting to break down shit.
Yeah. You're
well,
eating
and that's
decaying food and wonder why you're decaying. Right.
that's even the big thing in cannabis. Is like, okay, you know, other than whatever, Newsom, our governor, who's supposedly Democratic and shit, he he only passed one bill of the seven bills that got put on his desk over cannabis in the last year, and it was to extend the expiration date from 1 year to 2 years. So now shit on the shelf in California can be up to 2 years. Dude,
Damn.
cannabis is perishable. Like, oh, it has a drying cure, but like, yeah, I don't smoke weed that's more than 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It's even if you seal a meal and do all these things,
No. 2 years
it's
on a shelf is
yeah, that's all a bunch of bullshit, right? But
Yeah, because
it
that's
was
on the
obvious,
shelf. That's not even like processing and everything
yeah.
else.
Well,
And
and
hold
that was
on, the reason it can sit on the shelf that long is because it's sterile, completely
no.
sterile. You
yeah,
need
exactly.
biology on the food as part of how your biology digests. That's part of what your probiotic, prebiotic digestive tract works.
Yeah,
What it was.
yeah. That's a lot of why what's the legal markets weed is mids, like because it takes. Yeah, you have to go through processing, you have to go through packaging, you have to go through distribution, and there's a whole bullshit with that. Uh, it's a perishable, and anyone, yeah, there's a couple strains that do have some potential to age and
It's a whole different thing. They now we're talking cannabis alchemy at that point. When you've got to age it fucking a year to where it gets to that point that you like it, grow a fucking another strain that tastes like that and save yourself a fucking year. You know what I mean? Other than that, man, my bitch about cannabis in general when it comes to breeding and everything else is, god damn it, you should have some pride in that shit. You know what I mean? When you're breeding, it should be what you bred out. When you're fucking farming and you're putting out flower, it should be as best as it could be. You know what I mean? Best foot forward. That's your fucking reputation. In my opinion, in legal cannabis, a big market, they should have that brand should have a representative that goes around to all the dispos they deal with and then fucking pulls that flower off the shelf once a week and goes, oh, this is no, we're taking all this back here. You know what I mean? Just like you do with fucking bread or chips. You know what I
yeah,
mean? We're taking this shit back. We're gonna make cash out of that. That should be
Yeah.
a representative that all the best foot forward is always put. You know what I mean? It's always blown my mind with the pre-roll market that they sell garbage. I mean, you know what I mean? That should, in them pre-rolls, that should be the door. That should be the fucking door. That should be your best foot forward. They should buy a pre-roll and go, damn, that's fucking good. I need an ounce of that. You know what I mean? Not, oh my God, that burned my fucking throat. I don't want that garbage.
If you go listen to
Yeah.
you
What's
go
wrong
listen
with
to the
marketing?
success you go listen to the successful sales guys, they all say give your best thing away. Give it away because that brings people in, right? Like if you're giving away garbage, they're gonna go, this is
Yeah.
garbage. Why would I go buy it?
Right.
yeah, no. I mean,
Definitely.
they're like cutting their foot off, but in the end, like I was saying earlier, they don't really give. They don't care to satisfy us. They're in it for. They have a 100-year plan, and we're just trying to get through the
Do
fucking.
they actually put the date on yours there at the shops? Is there
Yes.
all the way.
yeah, okay.
Harvest date, yeah. There's not like a go bad date or use by date, but there's
No.
a harvest date. And for most
Okay.
part, I think some of them actually do. I don't have anything that I bought, you know what I mean? So, fucking, I'm pretty sure they do have like an expiration date here
Right.
in
The most
Michigan.
successful, the big companies, all of them. This metric doesn't work at all. Like I could tell you that 99% of our 2800 writer does never go into the metric market. The whole thing is like the actual
Okay.
distributor is like not doesn't even have a physical address. It's all just bullshit. Because in the end, the people that played it by the rules, those are the ones that went under, dude. That's the end of story, right? And at this point, I think even metric they got to know that the system leaks. I can tell you, my outdoor friends, they go up to Oregon and buy failed CBD hemp and then turn that in as the crop and get a credit to the tax for next year. They just roll it over and then all the shit goes out the back door, dude. That's that was the big change in the last year when I had to throw in the towel. Is I started having, I saw it. The black market, the legacy market, or the black market dispos had the big brands pound mylars with their metric packaging in the black market. And part of
Guys, I've
metric is
said that
supposed
for
to
a
be
long time. Go ahead,
right.
bud.
And yeah, I mean, and I couldn't compete with that. That's when the price started going 900 a pound, 700 a pound, and we're talking like I put all my love in into growing weed that cost me more than that to grow it.
That's the struggle we're going through right here in Michigan, and we've continued to go through since legal market has came about. Is they continue to blame the caregiver market for the black market, when reality it's the fucking big market, the legal market, the shit they can't get past, or they have bulk of is going right out the back door. They don't have to bother putting it in the metric and all that shit. It,
Like
yeah,
December,
half the black market here in Michigan is the big farms, the legal market. It isn't the
yeah,
caregivers.
that's the
What
Well,
if
the
first
you
term
pull up
is
the truck?
remediated.
the licenses were so valuable. These guys didn't fuck around. But then, yeah, no, like I could tell you, that's the only way you stay business, right? Um, yeah, and yeah, the metric, who's in every state. I'll just say this: just look at the early investors of the company, public company called Metric. Uh, it's all like politicians invested in this shit in the early days that came up like with the big profits. It's a complete failure. There's no competition. It's not like, well, this other state legalized weed and they didn't go with metric. They went with this other system. Part of their website is impenetrable inventory, right? The camera. It's like, oh, we had an inspection this week. Yeah, they want us to change a couple of the camera angles, right? The lady asked my nephew. Everyone just stayed away while the inspection went on. Yeah, like I know how cops are. They don't want to have to. If she would have like wrote up things or dug in, then she would have had to write a report and all this stuff. That's not part of it. They're just doing their job. But I was all, oh, she like trick questions. She said, "Oh, do you give samples?" Right? And my nephew like was smart enough because they all these other guys communicate. Yeah, make sure you say no. It's like if you offer even her it, oh, you can't give samples. You know what I mean? That's part of the rules, right? They ask you like trick questions. If you answer them wrong, well, you might end up with further, oh, now we have to have a sign-in sheet, and they're questioning whether all the employees have badges, and, all the bullshit. It all costs money. That's the thing. Like, yeah, the amount of like fucking everything, the weights and measures based on the bill every month, this agency or that agency, it's all this racket to basically take as much money. Like I was part of cannabis when it was just us, right? Like it was a people's thing, and it helped a lot of people, all the way to the guy that sold the nickel bag at the beach. Everybody had a fair little shake in it. Yeah, we placed that was like much more positive for people with this system that is a racket. It's like the racket. It's
And look at what the like what won me over on the voting was like, oh, we'll hold people accountable. It'll be clean access, right?
yeah, they're the
Like this
ones
will be
being
tested. It's they were privately tested. The dirtiest shit, the most popular
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
is like boom, 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 boom.
yeah.
Yeah, well, here
Out,
where we
out
are,
here though,
but yeah,
LA,
yeah,
the LA Times with the nonprofit did a
And then
thing where
what are they?
they secret buys, and then the biggest brands had pesticides that some of them were
dirty
like
as fuck. Yeah,
banned for like since World War
super
II.
dirty.
They were using termite
Homegrow,
shit
homegrow.
because part of it is the testing was only on the pesticides that we as the cannabis growers inform them that we use Avid, uh, Eagle 20 and stuff. So they test for that. Like if they were really to test cannabis for all pesticides, it's not like there's one test that tests for all pesticides. You have to have chemistry on each thing you're testing for.
Expensive, yeah.
At this point in California, and then all those brands said, "Oh,
Cost
that
would go
wasn't
up.
our grows. That was the third party, the white label products that had this in it." Like I can't even pronounce the names of the brand, but the big brand here that's everywhere is called Stizzy or Stizzle or
Yeah, two eyes, two or three eyes, or whatever the fuck it. Yeah,
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 yeah. They were the dirtiest. They had more fucking shit in their stuff,
exactly.
right?
I
Yeah.
believe that's steezy.
Uh,
Easy.
uh,
Okay, like yeah, and I see they're one of the places that people when I drive by these places, you can tell a business. That's how I sometimes find a good place to eat because there's people. You look at these cannabis places, there's no I don't know who they're selling to anymore,
I used to
you
see
know.
lines out the door, dude.
Yeah, no,
For I
that's
used to see lines out the door. It's not like that.
but what I notice is let's say you were 20 something and grew up with the legal cannabis and now you're fed up with it and you want to turn to whatever the black market, the notorious weed deal, right? That they try to make out. I remember even on this in our community when I first got into it, and after right COVID, there was like the legal guys were on here trying to like disparage the black market guys. Like, oh, you don't know what they do. It turns out, well, I smoke like I grow for myself first, right? So like,
I always weighed fair. I never fucking cut anyone. No,
but like
I always weighed
they
fair.
they disparage,
You give me green money, I give you, yeah, fair weight.
yeah,
Who's
It's
yeah,
gonna come?
okay,
Who's gonna come back if you don't anyway, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah, like
dude.
like
And you know
first
what?
time I
Yeah,
go,
I've
the
worked
guy
out
rips
deals.
me
Yeah,
off. Maybe I'll go back. No, I don't think so.
yeah.
yeah, no, like
So
I
yeah,
got
yeah.
some customers that have only bought and sold, consumed my weed for over 20 years. Only a couple of them. Yeah, that's a big honor to me. That like even my one guy Fabio, when he told me that last year or 2 years ago, um, I was like, "What? With all these stores and everything, you've never like were curious or tried?" He said, "No, I've had you." You know, um, yeah, like most of us were the most honorable business people there were. That's how we built our thing, right? And yeah, like because like I had I was pretty high when I did that, but I had a moment at the beginning of the year where I called a couple. I won't mention names, but I'm friends with some of the people in the legal business, deadheads and shit, friends for a long time, and they're part of the legal thing. I was like, dude, we're not on the same side. We can't be friends, really. We're not really friends because like you're part of a system that's trying to take us out. You came from this side, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Because like it triggered me when they used the word cannabis culture. Oh yeah, the legal market and the cannabis culture. No, they're trying to destroy what I consider cannabis culture, which was given to me by my dad, who smuggled rock and spears on his fishing boat when I was a kid. And he was a beatnik jazz fan, and then it goes back to the other generation of, who carried cannabis to this point, all the generations.
Well, but
That's
those who win the war write the history book, right? So
yeah,
we gotta pull ahead so we can keep it how
yeah,
it's supposed to be, not some corporate BS spin on it.
There's
yeah.
currently four levels to cannabis. There's the cannabis community. There's the cannabis. What we were just talking about, buddy. I just fucking what.
Cannabis industry, that's a bunch of bullshit because
No,
it's not.
there's cannabis community. There's
Cannabis culture.
cult. There, thank you. Cannabis culture, cannabis influencers, and cannabis industry. So there's four levels of cannabis currently, and it sucks because it all used to be cannabis community in the beginning, and it's been sadly divided and divided and divided, and that's where we are right now in a bunch of division. And it's kind of sad because as we watch it implode, there's a lot of us that were the cannabis community in the beginning that missed the whole community aspect of it. We're watching it implode and we're like, how the fuck do we get back to that? You know what I mean? We're kind of looking around at the doomsday, landscape around us, but we do kind of miss the community part of it. That's the heart of it. You know what? These stories that we're talking about right now, buddy, are fucking gonna be fucking the old man stories here soon. You know what I mean? The people, this growing cannabis is gonna be so industry like everyday work at one point. They're gonna, these stories that we talk about, the struggles and all that, are gonna be yesterday's walking up I walked 10 miles to smoke a joint type shit. You know what I
No,
mean?
even smoking a joint or like, yeah, no, it's just going to be some tablet or some patch or some inhaler or some, derivative. Like the big
Yeah.
companies, they don't plan on harvesting, like even in agriculture, like where the real cost of cannabis comes in is getting it trimmed, the whole process, right? They're going to have like, what do you call it? The grain furloughs, the silos full of grain, and then it's going to extract what they want out of it and create this product, right? That's their plan. That's their 100-year plan. They're not trying to compete with growing fine cannabis. But I believe, and I that's what kept me going the last couple of years, is it's like fads. Bell bottoms come back, and a lot of things come back around. Vinyl's back, right? Oh, craft cannabis will come back. It's just how long, right? Oh, it took them like 10 years to crush it, basically, or at least out here. Uh, it'll probably take like 30 years. It's like, yeah, they say there's cycles, right? Yeah, eventually there'll come a thing where craft cannabis will have a value above the legal cannabis, right? And people will be willing to pay for it because they know the difference, right? And not all people will because, like, in beer, Budweiser's not threatened by a micro beer. You know what I mean? They still sell what fucking $1 billion worth of Budweiser shit beer. Um, Same thing with cannabis. They won't be threatened by that where they are now. I'm pretty sure that these investors, and a lot of them have lost millions and tens of millions of dollars investing in cannabis, have been told, yeah, it's the black market or and as I say black market, guess what? Home growers are part of the black market. I know a lot of home growers don't want to have to pick a side, but like as soon as they can drive out the black market growers like myself, oh, they're coming for the home growers. Like they'll just say, oh, no home growing, right? Because they want every bit of the market share. They don't want any, like I say, cannabis is so well. That's the other thing. Every kind of a product has certain parameters of, of, and most things fit into a thing called supply and demand economics, and even their supply and demand perishable economics. Somehow, the cannabis industry, legal cannabis in the state that sanctions it. Like, oh, we went from 1,800 lights to 2,800 lights. Oh, that was just a paperwork. Wait, there's our oversupply. As long as the industry is producing part of what Newsom why signed the 2-year expiration date, the month before, the first data in California was compiled that showed it's just like Canada. 1/3 sells through, 2/3 ends up being turned in as expired. Right? That's not sustainable business, right? Other crops that do that, like corn, it's subsidized, right? It's subsidized.
Right.
You have to control supply and demand. There's a rule in supply and demand economics. If like a bumper crop, everyone loses because then there's excess of product, price goes down, right?
That's true in farming too, though. Same thing.
Yeah,
Everybody has
yeah,
a bunker
farming.
year. You watch the price tank. I mean, when this whole
Okay,
legalization thing came out, it's like, all you guys are going to
yeah,
be sorry that you're getting it legalized. It's just going to tank everything, and you're going to be competing with corporations. Here we are.
yeah,
Mm.
and the people that are continuing to grow, yeah, are getting bigger and bigger to like, oh, I guess that the price is only this and I grow thousands of pounds a month, I'm still profitable, even though yeah, in
Yeah,
California
but
we
at
have
that point,
like
why not
way
grow
more
thousands of
rice.
pounds of tomatoes?
Yeah, like even crab industry is an example. Used to watch the crab show. Uh, yeah, some years they all had a quota on this crab or that crab. Oh, the price of the king crab went up. Now, some of that was to protect the species, but that's just a perfect example of supply and demand economics, right? If if you produce too much, then there's no value.
Bud, you're
And some
starting to
days,
trip me out being so close to the screen.
oh yeah, I'm holding my phone. Let me go back to
Oh,
Zoom.
Thanks.
only starting?
Well, the
I
So
went
squints
to
are kicking in.
they said something earlier, and this is my argument to it because there's a few people that do that. But my argument
Depends
is
on how
that
long.
you're not of that age. As you get older, man, it gets harder and harder to see that phone. Even with glasses on, man, it can be hard to see the phone. So
You do
just saying.
whatever is comfortable for
Yeah.
you. I'm just saying it's a little trippy when you're on shrooms.
I do it too. So
4 minute warning.
is
We
it
should all be doing
switching? Is it switching and it's like the speaker? Is, or is it gallery view? That's what I'm curious. Because I
Oh,
didn't
Is
see it
what
as
I
the
don't.
switching?
gallery.
I
The
don't know.
Zoom.
I'm not watching the
I'm not sure.
online,
Is what switching? You mean
like
Uh,
YouTube.
And so you can set it to where instead of seeing us in a gallery, it will
oh,
like big
yeah,
screen the
yeah,
speaker right on.
yeah, yeah. No, I think you set that locally, like on your end, you can set whether you want it. I always leave it gallery so I can keep track of everybody, and it will highlight people by their audio.
I think that's a computer thing, to be honest with you, because when I'm on my phone, it will be like back and forth, big screen, one or the other. I have to swipe to, you
I
know what I
found the
mean?
phone really sucks on Zoom, really. Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, yeah. I don't like it on the phone.
I tried to share the grow tent with you a couple times on one of those streams, and I was just like, you're like, oh, I can't hear you, I can't see you. I'm like, all right, fuck this, like, enough.
The comfort of it, the two, it's just another thing too.
I honestly hate when people put it just on the speaker. I like seeing everybody.
Same
Makes
here. I want to look at the whole group I'm talking with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are a little more private, but definitely that's my preference as well. Just like who's talking, because when it's in Zoom and then it's like you see it live, it doesn't even like, at least I wish it would show the avatar or whatever, and then like so you could know like, oh, this is the person, and it at least matches that. So that's my main thing. If Zoom actually did that, I
Yeah.
think StreamYard is a little better, but I know it all works. Yeah, Zoom's been such a staple. Hard not to.
I agree with you though, because if you don't recognize the voice, you don't know who the hell it is.
Yeah,
Tao,
yeah, like
Tao always
I was
kind
Tao.
gonna
of.
say Chow.
Just
You're like,
I
holy
know him.
shit! When did he get here?
Like, oh, like yeah, I've been here for an hour, guys. Like, oh, okay.
Been sitting here spying on us, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Tao's notorious in a good way. Oh shit. What up, Tao? Anyone grown his gear? You Eagle?
I've grown
Grown
his
his
Amy Aces, of
Amy?
course.
I've heard good thing.
Yeah,
What did
what was your
you?
experience?
Yeah, love
Oh,
to
I
hear it.
like the Amy Aces. It was nice, big old buds. Kind of remind me of Pennywise a little bit, is
Here's
comparison.
my
So
review of Amy Aces. I grew it a few years ago. It was one of the strains that, like, a few hits into the joint, there was like resin being spit out the back end, right? Like, and it was crusty. Like, I grew crusty strains, but it was one of those ones that, like, when you roll with a joint, after a couple of hits, you're there'd be resin coming out the back end. It was super
My
resin.
brother, my brother knew a dealer that he used to buy from years back, and it was the only question the guy would ever ask anybody if he bought from him. Does it oil? Because yeah, if it oiled, boy, it got you ripped.
A lot of the bottleneck genetics, yeah, they're crusty as fuck, but they don't oil like that. That's a term, all right, oil. But that Amy Aces, it was a resiny ass fucking. It was good. It grew big too.
I'm gonna be
So
growing his Violet Beauregard. I think that's how you say it. Is that what it's called? Yeah. I fucked up the Amy Aces. Fuck.
What happens?
You learn
it
something, right?
happens.
Like, I
Was
fucked
it
up a lot of times.
timing
That's
or?
that's where I
You know
learned
what?
everything.
I knew I wasn't in the right frame of mind to be growing, but I thought that might pull me out of like my depression. So I started, and I shouldn't have. I just wasn't ready.
It's worth a shot. Yeah, but
It was
you
worth
know,
a shot. Yeah.
just
Well
one
worth
or
a
two
shot.
plants. Yeah, one or two
Well worth a
plants just
shot.
to
Because
keep you, like,
yeah,
oh yeah, it's
yeah.
why
Back to
not?
what he,
Why not?
yeah, back to what Eagle was
It
saying
did make
before.
me feel better.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. It's okay. I
Oh,
was just saying
cheers,
back
man,
to what
bro.
Eagle was saying before, like going through the split and shutting the lights off. I went through the split and flipped the lights on. It was like, thank God for that, because otherwise, there ain't much here, like whole life reset. So yeah,
Uh,
that and growing. That's being around plants is what brings me out of whatever depression I'm in at any time.
yeah.
beautiful bright
No,
green, that bright light. I'm not sure what that combination is, but it does help a lot.
And then of course the
it does.
smells.
Yeah.
But I've also been there as well, kind of, as you stated there, Miranda, is where like I wanted and needed that, but man, I couldn't get over that hump to where I was like in the
Heart,
garden as much as I needed to be, and
the
then
heart
once you
ain't in
kind of
it
get
yet,
over
right?
that, where it's a little bit of a fight, and then you're like,
Even the following grow after, like, I grew it out and it was nice, it looked nice, but I just didn't feel good about it. Like I felt like I didn't feel like my heart was in it. So my heart's in it this time.
Well, I've said this a million times, and I hope I actually get quoted for saying this because I've never heard anybody say this. But the cannabis is a bioremediator of the soil, but it's a bioremediator of the soul too, as well. And even like when you're in that slump, you can, even if you can maintain that, you know what I mean, get through to the finished flower there, man, it can look pretty and smell pretty, but it can fucking not be as potent or be the high that it could be. It really, you know what I mean? And
It's
I
a
Yeah.
think that's what
reflection.
we see.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
full
is a
on reflection.
reflection of what we've went through. And I think that's it. You know, we talk a lot of shit about what's wrong with legal cannabis, but I think that's it right
Oh
there.
yeah,
There's
soulless for sure.
instances like where Buddy's talking about where who was it? Your nephew, I believe you said it was. It's got the 280 light and he's running most of it himself. That's passion. You know what you got. You got in a nice rhythm. That cannabis, I'm willing to bet, is top notch because you know he's still there. It's his. He's taking the pride in it. He's still overseeing it, probably touching every fucking plant. Now you take that to a larger scale where you've just turned it over to a bunch of employees, and it's a 9 to 5, and life sucks, and they don't want to be there today because they want to make the drive, and they're there to there, and they're bringing all that bullshit into the fucking farm with them. That's what you're seeing in legal cannabis right there is a 9 to 5 mindset. It isn't there because, you know, they love it. There's a lot of people, all the people like us that had the fire and the passion got drove out or have been drove out. Now it's just the smokers that just like want to be a part of, you know what I mean? And it is that 9 to 5. I just go and flip leaves. That's all I get free weed. Da, 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 da. They've never really taken the time to have the passion of the cultivation side of it, other than, you know what I mean, taking the
Also-
it's just 9 to
Also,
5.
they also don't have the background and the knowledge and the skills that you build in interacting
No,
with that plant
some of
on
it
a
gets
long-term
into
basis. You learn a lot
you can
of
do-
little eccentricities that you don't know just by getting hired to do a job. And yeah, that type of energy is toxic. If
ultimately
you run a farm,
it-
get that shit out of there. Get people who are truly passionate and want to learn and want to grow with you and help them.
yeah. Well,
Don't expect it to be a one-way relationship. Expect it to
like
be a
earlier,
two-way relationship.
good energy and like like yeah, I used whatever recipe and all the tech and all that. But if someone really asked me and wanted to know like why my weed was danker than the average weed, it was love. Love was the secret ingredient, right? And yeah, you put out that love and good energy as a grower, and then the plant responds to that. Now, white papers and academics and science, they'll never be able to quantify that. That's not something they'll do. Matter of fact, people that are hard into that will say, "Oh, that's some bullshit you think," but that's not the reality. Crop steer and do all these things. That no, but that doesn't. That's not the love. It's the like what Eagles talk about is ultimately love.
And
That's
just to
that.
throw it out there, that goes with every single thing in life.
Yeah.
What you
Well, in
think is what
psychedelics,
it is.
which
We
I have,
create
you
our
know,
own
Yeah,
reality.
if you believe it to be true, it is. Like really,
yeah,
you can
no,
really make
like,
it
Yep.
happen.
like even acid, crystal, in the business back in Detroit. Every hand that the psychedelic goes through, if there's a bad apple that it goes through, then that taints the product for everybody, right? Like in psychedelics, the energy of it is crucially important. If they ever scaled it, like let's say mushrooms got to the point where there was 2,800 light grows of and 9 to 5 are doing all the mushroom work. Yeah, the high wouldn't you wouldn't have any. Yeah, it would have an effect, but it wouldn't have the spiritual
It's
side.
fucking deep, buddy, and I believe that's possible. You know, we can imprint on people and like that, and there's studies that say we can imprint on water and shit like that. So yeah, why can't? Yeah, that's
Don't get me started on water.
that almost hurts my head how much
Water
sense
is
that really
amazing.
makes. To be
Like
honest
really,
with
what's going on right
you.
you think it's a blue and red thing was really what's going on. It's like the good energy versus the bad energy. That's the big war we're having here. And most of my life, I witnessed it. The good always prevailed. It always prevailed. You never had to question that. Oh, these last so many years, I'm starting to wonder. Well, but no, we're just in a cycle where at the moment, yeah, there's a lot of bad energy out there, all across the board, right? People's personal lives and the products we consume and everything. And
And
right
but
now,
if you
the,
look
the
at that right,
negative.
that's all potential to be good energy.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Eventually when it
It's
turns
because
around,
they're being
that's what will
fed
happen.
stuff to make them negative
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
first place.
exactly, exactly. And yeah, I stopped even I was addicted to the news cycle for a lot of years since 9/11 until COVID. And then one day I realized, yeah, I start my mornings with my cup of coffee and my joint. I'm like ready to approach the day. But then by watching whatever for the first hour or so, it sucked the life out of me and it made me sick. It made me feel sick. And then I peeled off of that. That's how I end up listening to fucking Guerrero in the morning and FCP and Eagle and every other cannabis community show because yeah, I don't get that that energy from it. But you consume that, which it's hard not to. Like even myself, yeah, I wish I didn't even know about whatever the latest fucking thing is. But it's hard to have a phone or have like anything where you're not subject to the latest twists and turns. It's all bad energy. When was the last good thing that like a human beings could celebrate as, oh, this is a good thing? It's been a while.
I
Right.
quit.
You
You know,
really have to learn in life about reality and not let it get to you because it will if you let it. And that's where you get this
Oh,
negative
they've got
and,
it all. They've got it all
depression
figured.
and anxiety. And
Yeah, they got it all figured out.
Your
You know what
phone's
I mean?
feed right into that shit. Whatever
Yeah.
it like, it almost knows if you're in a shit mood, and it's just
Oh
dealing you fucking shit post
yeah. These
after shit
algorithms.
post after shit post.
Yeah.
Yeah,
These
the link we
algorithms are.
have with the phones anymore is super fucking scary.
got to learn
And
to put
now
that
with
thing
the
down.
link of fucking AI, and I was watching something else fucking just yesterday, but I shouldn't be speaking of because I need to go back and rewatch it. But Google's unleashed something else, and it's right now it's only available to certain people, but it's like getting like it wants to go through everything to
It's creepy.
personalize like everything to you. It wants to look through your photos, emails, everything. It
Yeah.
wants to listen to your conversations. It's like it wants to
oh
be
my
there
You
God.
have to change a couple
24
things in your
fucking
settings too.
Wants
They
yeah.
to.
they
Wait, I'm
automatically
pretty sure it
change how
already
the
is
settings
doing that.
are.
Well, no,
And
this was
now, yeah.
announced just yesterday
Oh
by a
no, no, no.
techie.
And I'm saying other stuff as well that
Right.
you have to like adjust it. Like it's automatically set to
They want it
take
by
out
what they
all that
said.
stuff.
You can hit this AI button and be like, okay, we want to go on vacation, plan out something that we like. And it actually, because it's been watching everything you guys do, go, yeah, go here. It's your best time of day to where you guys are happy. Right? You know what I mean?
Convenience and
Scary.
easy are not good things, people.
Yeah. Right.
That's right.
No,
That's right. Convenient and easy is just a mousetrap.
We're
no.
already
Yeah.
there,
Well,
though. Close. I mean, it's
well, we're
listening.
there.
We know it's
Like,
listening.
look, like, they sort of deny this, but we all kind of. There are times over these years where even tonight, something that was mentioned, some word or a product or a topic that I didn't mention, I didn't search it, I didn't do anything. The next thing you know, a few days after that, I'm watching a YouTube, those things are in my algorithm, right?
Mhm.
So they are like using our everything that it'll come out that yeah they were dialed into everything the whole time, even though the big companies deny that they're spy basically. Yeah, there's no privacy,
That's
you know.
exactly why Edward Snowden was saying use Tor browsers,
Yeah,
use VPNs, shield
yeah.
yourself from being spied on.
Yeah.
Well, I used to think all that until I watched this Vice thing that pointed out that at this point the algorithms are so dialed in. All the things I had these accounts for years, but I didn't even know the passwords, right? Because they were part of my business thing 10, 15, 20 years ago. Um, but uh, by so few people, do things like have ways that they try to thwart the system, the algorithm picks up those things quicker. Meaning, oh yeah, obviously this guy's trying to like divert from us his data from us. Uh, and then that's when I wrote on that same show. They said, "Yeah, you're best off just fitting into the billions of people because and that's when I turned my location on. And yeah, there's some convenience maps and certain things. I used to remember I couldn't use my phone that way because
Fuck your
I
GPS. They get you. They know where you are more
yeah,
accurately with
even
your
if you turn it off.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Yeah, even if you turn it off, there's
And
no
not
You
turning
don't
just
it
even
off.
have to
GPS.
carry a phone anymore. They
Yeah.
use frequencies and things. They can see what you're doing in your house if they want to.
Bluetooth.
Literally,
Yeah,
I was
my
just gonna
cable
say, literally
system
Wi-Fi
offers it.
remote.
Yeah, and they do
Security
disabled
system through
recognition,
Bluetooth. You can have it
Yeah,
through
like
facial
Infinity.
recognition, and all that.
look at what a Wi-Fi router is. That's a microwave transmitter. What do we use microwaves for? Radar. What can we paint pictures of? Everything in detail through walls.
And if you haven't noticed, they put a lot of towers up over the last couple years.
Might be a
Yeah.
few microwave towers floating around. Yeah. Yeah, we
Yeah.
pay for them because we pay the phone bill and built those.
And then after Snowden, our own
Got us
government,
working as slaves already.
the Congress or whatever voted and said, yeah, the government can't accumulate all that data like on people. I guess it was the reason it all started was the terrorists, right? That was their their end. I,
The
they
Patriot
they
Act.
say they stopped. They say they stopped, but dude, I bet you they're like at the front end of this technology or
That's
collecting
the
information.
biggest triggered word right now everywhere is data centers. They
Yeah,
don't, but they're
We're,
sure the fuck making room.
we're turning nuclear plants back on to run them. We're turning
Yeah.
nuclear power plants back on to run them. When we already have like grid demand that's beyond, this is so retarded.
Crazy. Crazy. Yeah, they're definitely trying to keep track and they're making room for all that data. That's for sure.
Man, is it ever nice to be talking to you guys tonight. Fuck. Some
And
people
that's
think
that's
you're
part.
crazy when you start talking about
No, that's
this
part of the
shit.
game. That's part of the game. They got most of the people brainwashed, so you can't talk to
Yeah.
them because they just think you're crazy because they've been brainwashed to think you're crazy and they're not.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
crazy for wanting clean drinking water.
Hmm.
Crazy for
I'm the
wanting
crazy
healthy
dude.
food at an affordable price.
Yeah.
Crazy for wanting just basic human interaction without all kinds of crazy BS going on.
Oh,
Yeah.
the food's
Yeah.
a scary subject. You know that for let's Taco Bell for instance, the meat that they use, they can no longer call that beef. They have to call it like taco filling or something like that because it only contains 35% actual meat in it. Think about that. 35% of the meat in there, you know what I mean? And
And
like
that's gonna
ice cream's not even they've changed the wording on your ice cream. It's like dairy something. It's not ice cream on the
same
label
with the cheese
anymore.
is the same with
Yeah, you
cheese.
know.
Even donuts used to be just dough fried. Now it's like 35 different chemical ingredients. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
No,
It's like I look at that and I wonder how could that even be cheaper? Like to have to like mix and proportion and buy all these chemicals, like it
okay.
actually seems cost prohibitive when you look at it from like a
The
normal.
first word that got like sucked out of okay, we call what organic weed, right? But really, what it is natural weed, right? Growing natural, right? But natural was chopped up by the lawyers a long time ago. Like, every box of food in the center aisles say natural, right? That
Natural is a
means,
trademark term that they use for
yeah, it
marketing.
means
Right.
nothing. They're close to making organic that way, like organic food. Yeah, there's like, oh, there is true organic food, or really, it should be called natural food, right?
And
Um,
that's exactly why I'm part of the food movement that I'm part of, the regenerative ag movement. Like
Yeah.
they're developing testing that you can carry on your phone and shoot a piece of produce and see what the nutrient density is in it. Spectral
Nice.
analyzation. That's coming in like the next 10 years.
But the truth is,
Nice.
as I go to the farmer's market and see $16 baskets of organic strawberries, uh, oh, there's one lady that sells the most strawberries at the market. But when people walk up, her baskets are $5. People ask, are they sprayed? She says, yeah. She doesn't lie about it, right? Um, my wife, who's passed on, when I first met her, she was worked for Japanese tomato farmers. She worked farmers markets, and for those months, I used to help her out. We'd show up at the packing house, same tomatoes that were. They would just put them in boxes that said organic. There was no like, oh, this field's organic, this one's not. Like, there's so much, and I think this era, like, it's not going to be called the MAGA era. It's going to be called the fucking corruption era. The level of corruption that is going on is unfathomable at this point. We won't ever even find out about it 30, 40
It
years. I'll be
is
That's
spiritual warfare, my friend.
yeah.
I just wanted to point out a couple of people have mentioned it, and I follow this channel as well. They're called Redacted, and they're just non-legacy kind of news reporting, and they're great. They're a couple, and everybody should go check them out because they're a little more real and raw.
Sometimes I wonder about what's going on in the rest of the world as far as news, but like any of what you consider mainstream news, well, that'd be the last place you'd ever find out about any kind of like real news. It's just this fucking like whatever cycle.
Yeah, news is not
Madness,
news.
like it's crazy.
Skews.
Yeah, I don't even watch the news.
But
I
you can
actually don't even
people
watch TV
see
that much.
No,
like
I
even
had to
both
turn it
sides
off for
of
sanity.
like the other
Mm-hmm.
day, I was getting an alternator put in my car, and I was in the waiting room of the mechanic for a couple hours, and they had the Fox News on. It was after this last shooting, and then it wasn't no volume; it was just the images. But I was watching a bit. I realized, yeah, of course that side thinks differently because they're getting they're getting that side. Like even the video that was so atrocious to me, oh, that wasn't what was shown. They edited it in a way that and then half the people are just they're it's like state-run media at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, uh and whatever
That's
I
because
saw
it
an
is.
interview, a long form interview on Lex Friedman, and it broke up into segments. It's like 5 hours long. But there's this
Yeah.
really attractive blonde lady that has 4 PhDs, and her job is the ethics and the training of Clyde, the AI thing, whatever. And I just remember this one part where she explained that, oh, all the tops, Chat GDP, all of them, have all got these ethics people, and they've they all agree that it's just going to reinforce, like, okay, if you're a flat earther and you have AI, it's going to reinforce you're a flat earther. Even though if this thing has 2,700 IQ, it would probably be able to take somebody that was a flat earther and show them the proof that the earth is round. Okay. Like, all right. But no, that's not what it's going to do on any level. It's never going to confront people with the truth. It's just going to reinforce whatever they believe.
Exactly.
Right.
It's divide and
Well,
conquer, but automated.
okay.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that's already the problem within the internet. That's what's created the divisions, right? Is like I stopped associating with Trumpers, I guess, right? But then the last year or so, I realized, yeah, you can't really blame them. They're just well, I don't know, but like they're not getting they don't see the same thing as people. Look, they
Oh,
don't see the truth.
I mean,
Yeah.
are we
Because
not all being
it's
played?
so
Like,
evil that people can't believe it, really. You
yeah.
know?
Well, and then on
No,
top of
to me,
that,
it's a cult. Like at this point, like yeah, it seems like a big cult, like and even yeah, like somehow they're like even my one friend, I'm like, yeah. isn't this enough? Like, and he's like, well, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention. Like, what do you mean? You don't fucking know follow everything. How do you not know that there's like shooting people in the street for no reason in the back? Like certain things, like I gotta be honest, I live in Southern California, so the ice thing's been a major pet peeve of mine since it started, right? And yeah, I just heard, yeah, California lost 2 billion in crops so far through last season and now. Uh, so yeah, there's no one to pick the crops. Like that's like the real dirty secret. Like avocado pickers, they come up here for like 6 weeks and pick avocados and send all their money home every week. And as soon as the boss releases them for the season, they're out of here. They're not trying to live here. You know what I mean? Like
And
that's
see
like
here in Michigan too.
yeah, like we've like demonized this thing, and wait, we're all immigrants. Like even in Southern California, I've seen footage. Some of we call them Chicanos. Those are Mexican Americans. That's what like 99% of all the people are, right?
Mexican American.
Said
Some
that
of them
there's so
have
many
a
labels.
generation,
Cheers.
like 1 to 5 generations longer with their families being in this region of the world than all the Americans that came from Europe. We have like great grandparent, like when whoever immigrated here. It's somehow like our country's built on that. And then all of a sudden, and I don't blame any of those people because if they're trying to like better their life and feed their family, well, okay. I can't blame anybody for that. And like to be honest, like I was saying when I first came on, man, like yeah, they have a work ethic. Like yeah, bosses try to get the most out of their employees in 8 hours or whatever the shift is, right? Yeah, pretty hard to compete with that culture of people because they work their fucking asses off. Where yeah, I like my breaks and I only gonna move so fast and like it's a dirty little secret. Like I look at it as okay, we abolished slavery, but then we just transitioned into the immigrant because a whole bunch of jobs are beneath Americans doing, right? Well, okay, that creates the problem right
Only
there,
because
right?
that's the option.
Yeah,
If that wasn't the
like
option, that job would be one of the options you'd have to consider depending on where you're at.
and a lot of people
Yeah.
think that oh yeah, they just pay them $1 a day. That's the opposite. And a lot of like even avocado picking, which I have some experience in, uh, they give them incentives because agriculture needs to be done in a prompt way. Like you need to get X amount of acres into the market quick. So they give them incentives to get this much done. And what it creates is they work as a fucking team because that's how they're going to hit those quotas, right? And then they actually are making like more money than you think, right? Like real money, right? Uh, Now there's people that take advantage of some of that stuff, but to be honest, like it's not like they get paid. If you want to get hardly any work done, then offer them $5 an hour, and they'll give you $5 an hour's work. You pay them 25, $30 an hour, no one can outwork them, dude. That's just my thing. Like, there's all kinds of cultures, Asian cultures, this culture. We live in a cultural country and world. Uh, yeah, Latino work ethic is on. I don't know of another ethnicity that has that kind of work ethic.
Oh no! Well, I had a couple things to say on that subject. When I moved to South Haven, Michigan, that was a whole different culture. That farm community down there in Blueberry, I seen what you're talking about firsthand. They had fucking no more than sheds, lines of, or pretty much community of like fucking sheds where the fucking harvesters would live and stay for the fucking summer and then they would move. But it was crazy on that aspect of what was going on because you would go to Walmart and everything was in Spanish. You know what I mean? You really kind of felt like you were in Mexico a little bit there. And it was kind of wild. to see that, here in the States. It was really a kind of a
I
culture
would
shock,
see
to be
It's
honest.
here like that in New York.
But real quick, while I still got the mic, I want to address this real quick because they were asking in chat and it made me smile. I haven't seen that term in a while. The chicken ham. It's a fucking thing. I see Operation Annihilation brought it up and it made me smile, and I commented on it, and then I had to think about where I had heard that, and you kind of flipped it back on me. You explained chicken ham. Chicken ham. I looked up fucking. I was researching what was on a Subway Italian BMT one time, and in the ingredients was chicken ham. And what they said is they substitute in some regions pork ham with chicken ham because some places don't eat pork. So that there is a thing, chicken ham, in some regions. So they asked me, I don't like to type, and they've been waiting. They asked me in chat, and I don't like to ask, like, okay, I forgot, or I'm ignoring you guys. But I wanted to throw that
We're
out
literally
because,
calling chicken ham, basically. Is that what we're doing here?
yeah, like say, like in an Islamic country where they don't eat pork. And what kind of again led me down that rabbit hole was I was at a Subway and an Islamic gentleman in front of me insisted on them changing the gloves per ingredient, basically, because they didn't want nothing cross contaminated. Da da da. In some instances, they even asked for fresh ingredients, so it wasn't, when they made the previous sub, that there wasn't pork ingredients, because they do go from the meats to the vegetables. So they were like, no, 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 no. And that's how part of the rabbit hole there was that experience and me kind of wanting to know what was on the BMT. And yeah, chicken ham's a fucking thing. Look it up. All right. I didn't mean to change the subject or whatever, but that was way too much to fucking
It
type.
was Dean Zombie that one time pointed out a couple years ago that McDonald's, who they get their meat from, the company's brand name is called 100% beef, right?
Yep.
Which is like, oh, why they can still, like, people still think that the McDonald's burger, like, just like you said, Taco Bell, it's not even meat. Yeah, I don't think McDonald's is that much meat either anymore, or any of them. But like,
None of
Yeah,
them.
they're,
They're
they're like
all
they're like
bad.
the they're like the greasiest person you could meet on the street who would just
Here's
twist
a
your words
fucking
to con you into something. That's what it is.
Here's a head scratcher, and see how many, if this isn't a Mandela effect for you, how many of you guys remember the Slim Jim commercials and them seeing Randy Macho Man snap into a Slim Jim, bite into it, and go beefy, right?
yeah,
Yeah, anybody remember them?
I
100% remember those
Beefy?
crazy commercials.
Okay, look at a
Yep.
Slim Jim today. There is not one fucking ounce of beef in there. It is mechanically separated chicken and pork. There's zero beef.
no,
It's Slim
crazy what
Jim.
they've been able
Zip.
to do.
Zero, none. Not even a little bit.
And there are so many nice, like, grass-fed jerky products on the market now. Like, I don't know why you'd mess around with a Slim Jim. I remember eating those back in the day and
No,
loved them.
I buy off products. Same. Yeah.
Well,
What about
a lot of
the
people-
jerky snuff?
It's cheap.
The
and
reason
it's-
why people, it's the
That's
cost.
the best.
It's
That's the
cheaper
best.
to eat
Roundup
crap.
jerky.
Yeah, but when you eat crap, you get sick. And when you get sick, it's not cheap because you either got to have health
That's all-
insurance or you
that's all
got to pay
part
out
of
of
their-
pocket.
that's
And
all
none of
part of
that
their-
system is rigged in your favor, let me tell you.
No,
No,
but
it
us
isn't.
being sick is also part of the profitable thing, Like, yeah. I mean, look, our big brands, Kellogg's, all them, they used to sell food all over the world. Like, very little of American food, even in third world countries that have hardly any food, will it's illegal. Like, our food isn't exported. because we use the dyes, we use this, we use all these things. Only Americans eat that shit.
And it's not just that though. It's like they've perverted the whole perception of what is literally healthy and what isn't. They've turned
Yeah.
fats into the demon and sugar into the good guy, right? It's really the other way around, you know?
Yeah,
They've
stop
turned
eating
this
butter
processed
and eat a
chemical
seed
thing.
oil.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
remember
The
watching.
seed oils that are all those aren't seed oils. Those were machinery lubrication oils that they were like, I wonder how we could get a human to eat this without killing them.
Exactly. I remember this one survival show, the one that was kind of real, where they filmed themselves, and the last survivor, the person that made it the longest, got the money. And this one season, this one dude, it was brutal. He jumped on the back of a fucking moose and slit his neck, right? And there he was. He was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna win." He had like thousands of pounds of meat, right? And then as it got down to the last couple, oh well, I'll make the story short. They pulled this guy. And like I didn't know this, but like, oh, he some of the early part he'd used the face and the brain and everything to get as much fat, but moose doesn't have any fat in its meat, right? So even though he was living in an igloo of fucking meat, and
You
most
need
of
a
the other
certain
people,
percentage of fat. Like if you eat just rabbit,
yeah,
it's too lean, you'll die. You actually die from
yeah,
lack of
yeah,
fat.
that's what this guy was like. He was going to die, and they medically evacuated him a week before the winner was declared. Who the winner didn't have any of that and was living off like uh, nothing. But yeah, the guy with all the meat, the moose meat that had no fat, he'd eaten all the fat out of it in the first month because they made it about 100 days. And, by then it was winter. I forget the name of that show. It was pretty good. But yeah, I was like, that's when I realized, yeah, that explained on that episode that the fat is why you eat the meat. Like that's what gives you the protein. That's what your body needs, not the meat.
I've
The
never
meat was
really
Well,
heard
the
that
meat's
about
critical
eating too
too.
lean like that. I've never heard that
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. It's in like you go look at some of these survival books that they'll tell you if you eat rabbit for 30 days straight, you're gonna die because you actually
Wow.
need more than that. You need more fat than that in your diet. Like if you can get a quail or a turkey or something that has a higher fat content on occasion. Because if you can't, you're gonna have a problem. I forget the exact mechanism, but it's essential.
Well,
It's
I
essential.
can see that in a lot of ways, and like the cholesterol drugs that a lot of people take is that blows my mind because like your brain is the fattiest muscle and you have.
It's
Now, why do
80%
you want to
cholesterol.
fucking pull out all the good shit out of your brain and shit and make it work twice as hard? Blows my mind. It
Well,
always has.
and that's the thing. That's like they put my dad on statins. Like in 2011, he had a heart attack. They gave him emergency heart surgery, bypass surgery, found calcification in his arteries, put him on statins. I asked his heart doctor, what does that calcification come from? Well, we really don't know. I'm like, you don't know? Like, how many years did you go to school for? Oh, 8. 8 years of school, and you guys didn't figure out what's behind the calcification in the arteries? Well, we roll down the road a little bit. Now we find out D3 and K2 are a huge part of calcium getting pushed into bones and out of blood. And then the D3 and K2 offer part of our hormone regulation, our brain health. Like it's every organ in the body is affected by this, right? Well, so later on, he gets osteoporosis, falls a small fall, breaks his back. He spends the last 2 years of his life in a wheelchair in pain.
Yikes.
All avoidable if only we knew about nutrition correctly. And then I look
well,
around and see how many other
that's
people like that.
like I'm a non-pharmaceutical person. I hadn't gone to a doctor in like 30 some years, but I had a hernia, and then I followed up with my primary care, and I had all the tests run, and they uh, yeah, I was what do you call it, yeah, it's the one cholesterol, LD or whatever. They said I was high or just borderline high. They the doctor said, yeah, well, I recommend taking statins. It's going to prolong your life. You won't have heart attack and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, no. Like, it must have side effects. I don't want to take it if I don't have to. She's like, oh no, no side effects. That I took it for a few days, and then I did a lot of it was I was supposed to take one tablet after a meal at night, and I just like didn't I didn't get in the habit of taking it. And like within I think it was like 2 months later, I'd only taken a few of them. Yeah, that drug now is on to something of like side effects that it fucks up your liver and shit. I was like, yeah, that
Yep.
doctor
Yep.
swore that these statins had no side effects. And
Well,
now
come to
the
find
one
out, it messes up your liver, it messes up your blood metabolism and how your blood works and how it handles fats.
kind of like,
And and the
I
big
have
thing
a morbid
is
way of
muscle
looking
mass
at it.
reduction, which is shown to be a huge problem as you age. You have to keep strength up, or you end up falling, breaking things. You get weaker because you're not moving. And then brain health depreciates. And I can attest to that. My
I'm
dad was a
older.
very sharp guy and a no bullshit guy. And, maybe even 10 years ago, I could see a depreciation. And I was like, man, is he just aging? And in the last couple of years, you could really see it. And yeah, and he still wouldn't give up the statins to the bitter end because his doctor told him he'd die if he did.
Yeah, yeah, no, that like the medicine thing is bad.
And then we kind of touched on that the other night with pharmaceutical drugs in general and how people get hooked. It's that right there, the trust of the doctor. The doctor says it's okay, so I can take it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's them doctors' morals are really fucked up these days. I when I think of a doctor, I think of a good heart. I think of a kid that fucking wanted to save that animal on the side of the road or whatever, or just good-hearted, wanting to see, you know what I mean? Cost isn't a factor, you know what I mean? Just wanting to save the life and keep people happy is, in my head, and you can't, sadly enough, you can't live on that. But, you know what I'm saying? At some point or another, the medical industry swayed from that, and again the greed stepped in there, and they became nothing more than fucking drug dealers, flat out.
Let's not forget the part of the equation here where they went back and they like changed how the med schools are educating people so that all they do is prescribe the prescription drugs that these companies who are lobbying for all this make. So they've corrupted the system from top to bottom. And it's not like most of these doctors, I think they went into it because they do want to help people. The girl upstairs, my neighbor upstairs, she wants to be a doctor. She's a compassionate person. She wants to help people, but you get corrupted on the way through, and you believe what you told you because you went to school for 6 or 8 years, right? To get your degree, to be certified.
That's sad because we standardized it. And that's when when the Medical Association came into play and standardized medicine right there, that's when we shot holistic medicine in the foot 100% and tied a lot of doctors' hands. And that's when fucking the pharmaceutical companies sank their fangs into medicine 100%.
And don't think that wasn't calculated.
Oh, fuck yeah, it was 100%. When the medical system closed their door on homeopathic medicine, that's when a lot of people should have gave up on the medical. So, they've done a lot of good things. If I need a limb fucking put back into place or I need something sewed back on, yeah, I'm gonna go fucking see a doctor. I've never seen a holistic fucking, I've never been able to wrap a cucumber around my finger and all of a sudden it's back together.
Hands
You know what
down.
I mean?
Hands
Fucking, there's
down.
places for doctors, you know what I mean?
Hands down, our emergency medical care is awesome in this country. We can piece people back together like you can't imagine. But
I have seen
the
some.
overall systemic system is sick.
I've seen some miracle shit now through homeopathic medicine. I had a dog one time, Lola, who is still healthy and happy and has had litters since. Okay? At one point, she had some of the dogs that we've seen, a little buddy, and Smoke and Grow Frasers. He's got one of them pups too. She had a litter. That litter, we got lost for like a day, right? We're kind of lost. We didn't see her up and around, and we're like, hey, where's Lo? And We go fucking in the bedroom, and she was lethargic like crazy. I mean, look, next to dead. I mean, stiff as a fucking board. So we fucking take her to the vet. Well, actually, we've kind of go to move her, and we open her up, and she had looked like she had been fucking shot. She had holes. I mean, holes in her. And we're like, oh my God, we fucking start panicking. We call around. It was a weekend. The nearest fucking vet's fucking in Traverse City, 2 fucking hours away. So we take her, throw her in the fucking vehicle, wrap her in a fucking towel, and you could literally see, like, there'd be moments there she would like let out a little yelp and close her eyes, and fucking just a little tear would come out. By the time we had got there, every one of her nipples had burst. She had now looked like she was Swiss fucking cheesed
Uh,
underneath from overproducing milk is what the problem was. So
uh,
we get there, and they would take her and look her over and clean her up, and they wanted to keep her and all that. And it was at a point where they wanted, like, it was like 3 thou just to fucking keep her initially, and that was like baseline. And I was like, hey, that was at the time I was losing the house and whatever, but I didn't have that right then and there. And I'm like, so, what can I do? Obviously, I love this dog, but yeah, I can't do that. You know what I mean? So they told me to fucking go get some cabbage and wrap her belly with cabbage. Shit you not. Shit you not. So we went, ate spinach, couple heads of fucking cabbage, and fucking, I'm here to tell you, within 3 days, her belly fucking was almost fucking completely healed. And I had looked it up and everything, and the wrapping cabbage on wounds goes way, way back, fucking back. But to see it firsthand, and how quickly and how well it healed those wounds, fucking blew my mind. So
What's even better is comfrey.
yeah.
Yeah,
So to
yeah.
say like they can't a holistic medicine can't like put something back together, well, maybe not. But I've seen firsthand it fucking put some fucking shit back to good wildly.
So here's another one. My family has this guava tree in our backyard, and one of the things that we use the leaves for is like bandaging when like something's infected. Like so, like I've stubbed my toes a couple times pretty bad, and there's just like, okay, let's wrap it. Let's like boil it so it gets nice and malleable, you know, and then just like you wrap it, and then it's just a little bandage. You leave it on there overnight, the swelling and everything just goes away. That's, just all that swelling goes away. It's it's
Yeah.
it's a trip, I grew up with that, and then a lot of my family was just like, okay, let's do things like that. Just that's what was passed down. Uh a lot of times I haven't had to go to the hospital. I'm very fortunate. I haven't broken anything. I've had some pretty intense scares and some scrapes and some things I've wobbled away from. But yeah, all of that it's helped out. Just having it was never what was always weird to me was like, okay, my family like saw that, but then they're like, oh no, cannabis. No, no, no. I'm like, you literally brought me up with this,
Plant
like with this
medicines.
mentality. Yeah,
How
yeah,
can
you
you
brought me
ignore
up.
this particular plant medicine? Yeah.
You refuse to take me to a doctor because you believe in this so much, which I do as well because it fucking worked. Like you're like, oh no, it's fucking leaf
I
on my
endorse
on
it
my
wholeheartedly.
on me.
Why don't
It's
you?
just a leaf. Yeah, it's just a leaf. How is this gonna work? Then you take it off 8 hours, overnight. You take it off 8 hours later. Like, bitch, they were right. Grandma was right.
I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Damn
what
it.
the distance is, but like
Yeah, it's
there's
so weird.
basically a distance around you. You can find everything you need to survive off anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah. Yeah. The solution's in the environment.
5 feet. It's 5 feet. It's 5 feet. Like if you get poisoned by something, the antidote in nature should be 5 feet around you.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
what
like
that
I
number
heard
is.
something about that, but I
Yeah.
couldn't remember what it was. Yeah.
I just recently read something to that effect. Yeah, it's 5 feet.
Yeah, it's
It
pretty
depends
cool.
on the terrain you're in, but yeah, for sure, it's close. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much in the environment. Like same thing as Raptor Grow. I grew up like my mom was into herbal medicine and plants and healing teas and like all that kind of natural stuff. So I grew up with that. And same thing. My parents are both anti-cannabis because they were told how horrible it was, right? Now, years later, like my mom was like not opposed to it at all, but it took 25 years of me and my brother duking it out with my parents all the time about it. It's it's an awesome background, but like I can walk out back here and there's easily 500 species back here that are medicinal plants that I know and I know how to use. And
Nice.
it's crazy. Like I walk out there and I see that it keys right into me, but I can walk with somebody who hasn't been brought up like that and there's no, they're like, oh, what's this plant? Like, oh, that's this and that. It's for this and this and that. I'm like, oh, no shit, I didn't know that. It's like.
For me, I had to like look up what native plants were in my area, that the ones that were like, hey, this has been here for thousands of years. For where I'm at, it's elderberry. Is one thing that's like, oh, cool. Like there's a whole different speciation away from the other ones, like Canadiensis, I think. I'll have to look. Yeah, but definitely not an herbalist, but I because of the way I brought up, I was always like, okay, I don't take the whole rhino horn, whatever, kind of deal, but definitely the reishi, the eternal mushroom, stuff like that. It's like that's ancient Chinese medicine. Like, and people throw away their fucking cannabis roots. Dude, that's strong medicine. I do too. I just let it, like, I leave it. Yeah, I leave it because it's just part of my system and it's easier. It's just like, okay. But for the ones that take out their plants and like every time and do all that, that's literally medicine. You can literally dry it, just clean it off, get a good like pressure spray wash, dry it, and then grind it up. And then that's ancient fucking medicine. That's what drives me nuts. It's like, dude, why are you fucking throwing that away? Like, no. At least if you're, I get it. I don't do that, but I get it. I would at least like, hey, you're harvesting top. You shake off the dirt, but that's still a yield. That's 50%. Yeah.
There is
That's
one point.
that's my
We're just not taught that stuff, so
I had to learn. Yeah, exactly.
There at one point I had seen in Thailand, they fucking use the roots, wash and dry the roots, and use them in culinary. It's like their secret ingredient.
Almost
They
like
say
bamboo
like
shoots,
yeah, they throw a little bit in there, and they say like every individual ingredient then pops. It's like their super like secret like ingredient in a lot of their food over there. And at that point, and that was a couple of years ago, they were like getting $800 a pound for washed cannabis roots over there. But that was just on the culinary side of it. But as we're talking about, there is a huge anti-inflammatory properties in the roots as well. There's got to be a lot. I mean, for me myself, there was a huge amount of time there where I didn't even think about reusing my cocoa, my fucking soil, whatever. I took it straight out to the yard, and when I'd take that out to the yard there and stomp that root ball down, I could always smell without tags almost what was grown in that pot. You know what I mean? There was most definitely terps and fucking all kinds of shit in those roots. 100%. So there's a lot of great stuff left over in the roots that we aren't utilizing, like you said.
Absolutely.
At some point, it is a fucking head to tail plant. We should be using the whole fucking thing.
Absolutely. Go back and read how strawberry cough was created. It's a guy in Vermont growing in strawberry patches.
That's
Plants,
yeah.
plants
Yeah.
exchange
If you heard the story about
compounds. Plants in the ground are communities. They're in a soil community together with communities tying them together. And they exchange compounds, they exchange nutrients, and the fungi can propagate nutrients literally at light speed. It's pretty wild when you look into the actual science of it. It's wild.
Hey, it reminds me when the first time I got some blueberries, fucking like in the 80s. I remember even my friends and us, we were so impressed with it. And we thought, yeah, this guy must have grown this weed next to blueberry plants. That's why it tastes like blueberry. Like we didn't know any better. We were like teenagers and shit. But yeah, I used to think like in my mind, 'cause I didn't know, but when certain flavor strains of weed came that had certain terps, we would just assume that it had to have been grown right next to, oh, this guy's plants were in a blueberry patch. That's why it tastes like blueberry. That's what we used to think. Or I used to think, like in fucking 19 whatever.
Did you hear the Kyle Cushman story about the strawberry cough? Or like how strawberry cough got famous?
I've heard a couple variations of that there story that it was
What?
grown in. Then I've heard Kyle's version there a little bit. They kind of vary. In my heart of hearts, I agree that I kind of believe that those terps could be quite possibly taken up in the soil. Although I've heard a lot of stories that say that the whole story on how that strawberry was discovered and that strain was bullshit. But I'm with Carlton there. I think 100% that that plant FPJs and shit like that. You can, if you're feeding that shit fruit fermented fruit juices, you're gonna taste some of that fruit juice in the end product. Even if you've seen it in, like, if you use fish emulsions. You fucking put too much fish in there, you're gonna taste the fish in your bud. At one point, we were using rabbit shit there. Remember and that's good top dressing and fertilizer
Was
too.
it
But
grassy?
you go too heavy on the rabbit shit and fucking, you're gonna taste that in your end product too. So yeah, you're not putting it
Everything
on
within
top. It's
reason.
not
So
in the
I'll,
strain. So
Little
where is
spread
it
out.
uptaking that flavor from?
Okay.
From the fucking
There,
roots, right?
I'll grant you that the strawberry cough story may be a legend, right? But if you go into regenerative agriculture and you listen to like John Kemp and some of these like really in-depth scientist guys are doing studies and they're finding even like if you plant a GMO crop in a field, you get horizontal gene transfer to other plant species in that same field. It's literally DNA contaminating the plants in that field. Like
yeah.
so if you can transfer DNA, then I would say, yeah, terpenes, polyphenols, all sorts of root exit. You got to remember, plants are putting down sugars and all sorts of compounds into the soil to stimulate the biology. Those are like all sorts of trace minerals, all sorts of
My
crazy stuff
example,
down along with sugars.
there was there
And the
was a time
bacteria
I
and
used,
fungi go out at the behest of the plant and bring nutrients back. And plants even actually absorb bacteria and strip them of nutrients. It's pretty wild when you look at what's actually going on in that soil. So
there was a time
absolutely you're gonna
when
have it.
I used to use fish emulsion to grow, and it was some funky shit. And if you, I learned over time to use it very minimally because, oh, if you went a little, oh, not that the growth wasn't excellent. That's why we like started using more of it. But yeah, we tasted like fucking fish because you were using too much fish in the soil. And
Especially if you go too late, yeah.
yeah,
For sure.
and way back in the 80s, you know that product called Super Thrive, right? People
Yeah.
used to use that growing weed, and there were certain weed that came around that you just open the bag, you know that they went too much on the Super Thrive because it had that vitamin B, You know, like when you smell vitamin B complex smell, and that's what's in that super side. It's like one drop for like you're only supposed to use like a
50
drop.
gallons. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I've went through my super fried phase. And then when I was growing in the hot air there in the attic space, I swear by B vitamins in hot heat and just keeping them plants moving will make them almost bulletproof in the fucking 90 plus temperature. So,
There's two pathways in a plant for resistance. There's induced systemic resistance and another one. I forget what the other one's called, but that's induced systemic resistance. B vitamins, they've even found like aspirin can do that, salicylic acid.
yep, yep.
Well,
So I
either
wanted to.
life, all life is moderation, right? Moderation. Like a little something works real good. Too much of it
Oh, I
becomes
agree. I agree. Well, I like to put it in the cloner at that point. It always, fucking seemed to help the clones take off good and healthy. And then
well,
if
when
it
I
was
first
hot,
started
had a little
growing,
bit here and there in the watering. But I
I
want
just
to kind
go
of talk about like blending flavors a little bit together, and through like inputs. You know what I mean? I've had a lot of people say that
About
growing strains
enhancing.
side by side. Oh, don't the flavors kind of fucking blend through 'em, the terps kind of intermingling with each other. I've never had that a problem. Now, certain nutrients I've used, I've started to now see somewhat of a unified flavor a little bit. They still have their individual properties, but there's a little bit of something in the baseline. And if again to say that okay, now you can't take up flavors through the roots. Oh, the Terpinator. Everybody remembers the fucking Terpinator phase. I went through the Terpinator phase. I tried it out back in the day. And that shit right there, if anything I have ever fucking used, Terpinator blended my shit out so bad. So bad. It couldn't fucking, it had to go. It put limonene in fucking everything. Everything. You could taste the Terpinator.
that,
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
my experience is that way. Like it used to be, I used GH for a long time, and there, GH had a thing where people could, you know. But I've also my method of growing from the beginning was less is more. So I never pushed any of my inputs, right? I like, especially as genetics got better and my thinking and my methods. I was like,
Always
that's
add
why
more.
I stopped using the boosters at the end. I didn't even use those for very long. I always felt like, especially as the genetics got better, you just want to give the plant its basic elements, right? Its conditions and the nutrients, what it needs. It needs, the microset and the macroset, and let the genetics express themselves, not try to push the plant to, right? And anytime you push the plant, yeah, you might have got a bigger yield, you might have got, prettier nugs, harder nugs, but the best batches I ever grew was when I just let the genetics. They had everything they needed. They were happy. They were happy plants, and just let that happen in the most natural way. Even though I grow hydro my whole life, but that doesn't mean, like today, I don't even understand how they do it because, like, if I ever pushed my EC or PPM, like crop steering, they're up at like 4 or 5 EC. If I even got like in above 1.8, the least would twirl and there'd be a detriment to
Oh, the
pushing.
plant can be trained for a high ppm, no doubt.
Also,
I
But
mean,
that's
how
what
it's
much
fun to
how
do.
much light
oh yeah,
intensity
you
were
start hitting it early, and that first time it'll brown the roots and the tips a little bit, but it'll learn to take that high
Yeah.
ppm
Well, I don't
and
think that's where the best weed comes from. Like
I
when we're talking
agree.
about,
I agree. I'm just saying with you, it can
yeah,
be
you
done.
might
The strain can be trained for a high
like
ppm for
a
sure.
lot of the strains that I grew that are being grown commercially. Like, dude, these guys aren't going. These are saying strains that are 60 to 70 days. Some of them are even long. Dude, they finish this shit in 45, 50 some days because that's part of the crop steering. You just push everything. Oh, I get it. Okay, they get the yield, they get all this, but that's why across the country, we call what weed that is mids. That's what we call it. Oh, it looks pretty, it smells great, but it's just mids, right? Um, yeah, that's because they've gone to these methods, where yeah, I try to grow really dank, heady weed, heady, like, irie, like that's my goal, not the yield, not a lot of other things. Well, those things all matter, but that's my priority because back in the day, some of the ugliest weed had the same 4,000 a pound value because when you smoked it, it was like one hit or quitter, fucking strong as fuck. Today, none of those weeds can be marketed. If it doesn't have this look. Oh, and then the THC percentage, like that's a what do you call it? A whole level of this is that the system, because California, you buy everything sealed. I don't go into stores since 2015, but the word is that like most customers come in and ask the bud tender, what's the strong? That's like suppose if you bring in weed that's under 30% THC test to the market, it doesn't sell, because of the way they got the THC levels. Is like if that's the only factor, you can't smell it, you can't test it, you can't try it, buy it. Yeah, they want the highest THC. I've smoked a bunch of these 35, 33, even some 40% THC. Dude, Raptor said, yeah, dude, I want a cup with a weed that tested it, I think it was 18%. And I kept a relationship with that lab and tested batches for a couple years. I got up to 21% once. But that was the dankest weed I ever, Blackwater. It was so good. And the OGs, those test in the teens, all the strains that we reminisce about that we wonder why aren't in circulation, like they used to be. Yeah, because they test in like the teens, but those are the best weeds you ever smoked. So then that proves that the THC percentage is not a viable factor into judging if a weed is good or not, or
Oh.
all that. But then again, the next generation and then all the 20 somethings and then every year, that's what they're being educated. Well, what do you got? The strongest stuff, right? But that isn't the strongest stuff. Okay.
Well, now they're starting to find other molecules that like are THC multipliers. That you find
Yeah.
that trace molecule in that bud that's like 18%. And now it has that trace molecule that multiplies, the THC effect by 10 to 100 in some cases.
I don't
Oh,
think that the chemistries are going to be able to quantify. I think cannabis is a magical plant and it's full spectrum. The high, like what we all enjoy about it, why we grow our own or, do what we do, is because we know that, right?
But how much
We know,
of like the full
right?
spectrum are people getting when the market is mostly concentrates? Is
Or,
is
or bottled in
I'm a flower
genetics.
guy, but
We're
I
in
get
robot
concentrates
genetics.
medicine.
And not only that, but like the the yield. You're right. You're going for yields. You're growing strains that give you yield, right? So you're not going after
Time,
quality.
time and
That's
yield are
weight.
There's a
big.
huge
Yeah.
difference in that mentality right from the start.
Yeah, and not just yield, time, the days, the cycle, right? Because like on the big commercial end,
Yield per
these
minute,
guys are
basically.
trying to
Yeah.
popularize strains that finish in less than 50 days because okay, every day is a cost. And that's why you don't see any long-term, long cycle cannabis, I mean, the sativas or the hazes or so many. Those aren't over that's not what's in the metric. None of them, right? Because financially that's a
What are you going to
lost
make
leader.
more doing? 8 weeks or 12? Yeah,
Yeah,
eight
well,
weeks. Because
wait, those
in
are
eight,
also
I got
lower
16.
yield.
Now we're only 12 and a half, or one and a half. We're
Those
two
kind of
pounds in.
strains don't put on the weight, right? their looser structure, but that don't mean that they weren't fires or
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
high,
Just a
you
different
know.
phenotype altogether.
Right. And so we've already, like, I remember hearing this bottleneck term in genetics a couple years ago in the content, we all watch. Um, yeah, but like where I've come to really know it, especially in the last couple of years, is in the effect. Like it's sometimes I think, is this just me? Maybe I'm old. I don't get those kind. No, every once in a while I get a hold of something out of the realm, out of the like common strains, and then it reminds me, oh yeah, fuck, that was a soaring high. That was all these different kinds of, and the cannabis is legal and progressed all these over these years, but it's actually gone less. You would think at this point, like if you walked into one of those stores, they would have everything you could ever imagine as far as cannabis, right? And there'd be values. Okay,
As
this one
soon as you
costs a little more.
commercially farm something, you got to turn it into like more of a monoculture mentality. Otherwise,
That's
it's
it.
impossible
That's
to
it.
manage without people. And if you got to pay people, then you're losing money on labor.
Yeah.
That's the
And I
mentality.
remember because I've been like a supporter and listened to every farm aid for all these years. I knew I was a farmer. I was making my money off of farming weed, growing weed. But I remember like looking at it as, God, I feel bad for these people that are farmers. They're getting squeezed. This is happening. And, then you get closer to the farm business when I ran a fruit stand. Yeah, the guy was selling flats of strawberries for like $6. Like, wait, how's that make money? When I was in the cut flower business, we'd get like 10 cents per 10 bundle. So like a bucket would be like a couple dollars. But no, it still was a viable business. But farmers have always gotten the rawest deal, right? Farmers, like, they do it for the love of, like, I'm sure the guy that grows watermelon or cantaloupe or any product, he loves it, most of them, or at least the real farmers, as much as we love weed. We love
But
growing
but
weed. They
you know
love
what the cool
growing that.
thing is? That's changing. That's changing quickly now.
Yeah, with the regen, there's a rebirth of it, but like, it's still. I don't know how you're going to beat this system,
But
man. The
but the
system's
economics are changing because of the tactics. The actual growing tactics are changing. That changes the economics because now there's no longer all these chemical inputs and there's no longer all these pesticide inputs and there's no longer
yeah,
all these passes over the field with all those products. Once you get a balanced soil going, it's a few foliar fees and pests and diseases are not a problem. The plant does the job with its immune system that it's supposed to do.
yeah,
And
nature, like
you get
nature.
greater yields at greater quality, and that makes
The,
it
the
more profitable for the
like
farmer.
ultimately, we live in this nature food chain all the way down to the microbe life that is all balanced. That's the beautiful thing of the fucking planet, right? And then anytime we tried to fucking intervene in that shit, and part of the regenerated thing is, yeah, after they've stripped the topsoil and they've ruined the fucking farmland for 50 years of propaganda that they've been sold from fertilizer companies using byproducts from the fucking bombs to every fucking thing else that's cheap. There is this like, oh, I remember listening to a whole like long speech from Ingram, the lady that uh,
Elaine
living,
Ingram,
Elaine.
yeah, right. And she talked about one, she was a woman, which was like, oh, in the 1960s was like, oh, and was like a researcher, and she put out all this uh, what's now accepted science about the the microbe life and all this. That was like in the 60s because the propaganda machine of the chemical fertilizers and all this completely wouldn't accept that. And I remember kind of explaining the like now it's she's happy that more people are welcoming the idea, but when she first brought that on, they laughed her out like if she didn't know nothing, right? Like they didn't want to accept that.
she's not
Now
the
it's
only
like,
one they did that to, but all those people went out and proved that
yeah,
system 1,000% wrong.
1000%. And slowly it's starting to take hold. And even on some bigger scales, they're realizing, yeah, this way of farming is a dead end. Like if we kill our
Multi-thousand acre farms are adopting regenerative stuff and switching
yeah,
over now. Yeah, it's
yeah,
awesome.
because that method that we were basically forced into for propaganda and government assistance and every other thing. Yeah, now that it proved itself out, it failed. It's like we can't. It's not sustainable. Like, oh, in the 60s, 70s, 80s, I don't even think that was a word. Like we didn't think sustainable. We just thought about today. Now sustainable is a thing because
Sustainable
you know
sustainable on a failing system doesn't work. That's not sustainable by its own definition, right? You have to be
exactly
regenerating land, not just trying to keep what's falling apart. You have to be building it back up.
exactly. And like if we didn't spend 100 years fucking going the other way, God, who knows where we'd be? As far as health and everything. But
We'd be
no,
living true, healthy lives, and we'd have people who are critical thinking, and there wouldn't be population control because people wouldn't
yeah.
stand for
And
it
there'd
because they
probably
wouldn't be
be less
brainwashed by
autism,
stupid
less
BS.
people allergic to things, like all these things that have like multiplied as the in the last so many years. Allergies, health issues, so many, like you say, like it's
Cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis,
and,
anxiety, blah,
and
blah,
if we
blah, blah,
weren't,
blah, blah,
this is the
blah, blah, blah.
reality. If
Talk
we
to your
weren't so
doctor today asking
divided
about this drug.
and going through this crazy political fucking decades, maybe some of these things would be like in the zeitgeist of the politics and stuff. But in turn, this is how I think these corporations know, oh yeah, status quo, keep people divided with this bullshit, but we don't like lose our edge because they're willing to fucking kill every last one of us till they make the squeeze every penny out of their failed thing, right? Monsanto or whatever, GMO, all the things that they're trying to tweak nature because ultimately it's a simple lesson. Fit into nature. That's the way to do this.
Study and
Not
mimic nature is really the easy way to
yeah,
do it. Yeah.
not try to like tell them the science is bullshit, nature's bullshit, and all this stuff because
But
nature's
But here's
hey,
the cool thing about all of it is that once your eyes are open to a little part of it, you start to see through
yeah,
the bullshit
no,
everywhere. And the more you see
yeah,
through the bullshit, the more hard it is to go back. You really end up
no,
kind of
it's
taking the
happening.
pill like the whole thing goes, you know?
That's our hope that like
Yeah,
as
there's no
things,
going back.
you know, even though we live in this time that seems like, man, is it ever going to get any better? Oh no, some of these things are in long cycles, and yep, all this will come around. It will come around. I believe that. Like in the
Yeah,
end,
yeah,
I
totally.
believe the good prevails, and this is the good.
Not
This
only
is the
that, but we're finding evidence now that we've been here before multiple times already here on this
yeah,
planet
and
as a
blew it, and
civilization,
blew
right?
it.
A
Yeah,
very advanced civilization beyond what we have today.
I believe that. And I believe that, yeah, because of our ego and certain instinctual human things, our fucking divisiveness, the other people, war, resource, we've done the same fucking thing over and over, right? Like when, no, there's actually a way, like I like the American Indians, especially the concept of like they moved on, they tried to stay within the food chain, right? They didn't they're
Yeah.
yeah, well, we exterminated that and turned this place into to like gluttony, basically. Like, that's what and then once the super rich take over, like we're in now, where we're in a hyper capitalism, yeah, then there's a point where, yep, we blow ourselves up and we go through a million years to get here again.
And that's the cycle in a nutshell. But back to the flavor thing, the cross and flavors thing. You know, Eagle, I've grown lots of different strains right next to each other, and I've never had one affect the other like that either, now that you mention it.
Now, are their roots interchanging or are they in separate containers.
Oh, in the ground, giant plants, roots intertangled. They're maybe 3-4 feet from each other, and they're definitely networked in hard. Like when I went to do drenches or whatever, I could do the area and get several plants kind of concept.
Well,
Right.
that's where you're talking about. We grow, most of us just grow female plants, right? Some people breed, make seeds,
I did a
but
good bit of males too, yeah, but
without some kind of like generational thing, I don't think it could. But I think over time, and that's, I guess, through the breeding is what happens, or the sexing. That yeah, things that's nature's way of having it happen, right? Right? It's if there was a male plant and then it crossed to this plant, that it would
but but
it
even
would or a couple generations, and then you would have that mix. Now through the roots and the plant being able to transfer that to each other and just in a female form, you know.
here, let's look
To
at it.
me, something like that, for something to transfer through the roots like that, you would have to take a cutting of that and rinse, lather, and repeat. And then through, you know what I mean, through that cutting that's already absorbed some flavor, now put back in, you know what I mean, through cutting and absorbed a little bit more, you know what I mean, and then a little bit more, maybe a flavor sway
Well,
a
hold
little
on a sec.
bit.
Hold on a second. Because if we go back to the epigenetics of this, and remember the environment affects how a gene expresses itself.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an interaction there from another plant being in the soil. We kind of know plants communicate with
Well,
each
the
other.
terms
We
bouncing
just
off
don't
each
know all
other
the
are
pathways that they
100%
communicate
part of
by.
that key. But I think that makes them more individual, that this one's over here putting out lemon, and now you're trying to put out my fucking pine? Fuck you. You know what I mean? I think they buy that the more the variety, the more they singularity, put themselves out. They have to
What if-
work against each other.
What if it's the
Versus-
other way? What if it's the other way? Because plants are using those compounds to defend themselves. What if they're working as a team to defend themselves? I'll make the limonene, you make the, pinene,
Maybe,
you make
maybe.
the, down the list.
There might be
No.
some possibility to that.
One time flower cycle, not a lot can happen. But if it was like these two varieties, even in their female form, grew in the soil next to each other for 10 years straight, well, maybe over time there would be, some transference,
Yeah, then
right?
you definitely have an epigenetic influence because they'd be in the same
And
soil
now
together
I
too.
was
Like,
going to also
and
say,
then you
like, I
can't really
know
even eliminate what the other
trees
components of the environment are that are affecting that, right?
in other agricultures, they use certain plants as the root stock, and then they graft the other plant on top of it, right?
There's lots of
Tree,
techniques like that. Yeah.
right. Where like, if you had the roots of one plant, and somehow you took the other plant, cut it, and
You
put
can
it
do
right on top.
tomatoes on a potato and grow potatoes and tomatoes on the same plant. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do. You can do it with cannabis too. Cannabis and hops. You can put hops on a cannabis rootstock, and it'll grow hops flowers, and they'll have THC, called cannabisea. Pretty wild. It's one I still want to experiment with at some point, just for fun. I want to try brewing beer with it, actually.
I definitely think we're like at the infancy stage of what we know, as much as we
I
know about.
accidentally brewed beer with hemp once. I did a 30-gallon KNF FFJ where I just took equal parts. It was like 20 pounds of buds and then like 20 pounds of brown sugar. You mix them together and then you put like a crust of brown sugar over the top and it'll just sit and it like osmotically sucks all the liquids out of the buds. And then you get like a syrup, like that 30 gallons got like maybe like a fucking, I don't know, like a fucking, maybe a liter or two of fucking like syrupy shit. And it smelled so fucking good. It wasn't like thick like syrup. I'd say like, I don't know, maybe like motor oil, maybe a little bit thicker than that. But it was like fucking, I had it I put it in a 2-liter pop bottle and it fucking blew the lid off. And like in the middle of the night, like fucking, It's great. Like it acted like rocking the lid off a damn Mountain Dew bottle, 2 liter. Figured,
I had that happen with a
usually they
5 gallon
expand and
jug
they'll
of
pop
beer
the other
once.
way. But it smelled like fucking like Mick Golden Light with cannabis. Like it's this earth note. It's just so fucking good.
Yeah, I had a porter, like kind of like Guinness beer that I was brewing once in a 5 gallon jug. I didn't know you needed to be in a 7 gallon jug to do 5 gallons. And it overflowed while I was at work under the table one day. And the whole apartment, the whole thing got flooded. And man, we still smelled it like 3 or 4 years later. You get like a humid day in the summer, you'd smell it. Or when the heat kicked on at a certain time, like after somebody took a shower, there's a little humidity in the air, you'd smell it and be like, oh man, I could go for a porter right now.
Oh my god.
So I don't necessarily think is you guys know this as well. THC isn't the driving factor of the high. It might be the gasoline behind it, yeah, but I think it's the terpenes 100% dictates, it's set and setting. When you smell that jar, you already know the direction you're going. So I think that's got a huge part of the overall high is the flavor and smell, the terpenes. Obviously, there's probably a lot of other things. I think the THC part of it is like you're saying, it's the driver. It
Yeah,
pushes you
that's
in
like the
that
engine, right?
direction.
That's like
But
the engine.
yeah,
Everything else is the
Well,
controls.
yeah,
Israel
yeah.
doctor, he passed away. Shame I don't know his name, but he's the guy that basically white papered what we call the entourage effect, right? Many years ago.
The
From the
ensemble effect, we're
time,
supposed to call it now. Because
yeah, the
Entourage.
ensemble. Okay, because from when he first did it, he basically was like in like 3 dimensions. He was saying THC, CBD. Now, as so many years later, we know that it's the sulfur compounds, it's the esters, it's the flavonoids, it's a whole range of things. With That's one of the reasons I don't think, because I do believe this part of the science that there's only a certain percentage total that is the cannabinoids. The rest of it's what do you call it? Carbon, basically the leaf and the plant, right? So you can't have more than like a third, we'll say. If you push that THC to this high level, it's at the you can't have the high THC and the high flavonoids and the high esters and the high everything. It's like a scale. So like
Yeah.
that's why
If you
some of the
focus all
weeds
your
that are
energy
so
on one thing, you can't spread it across many, right? Like,
right.
yeah.
That's why some of the weeds that are so well remembered as the best weeds only tested in the teens, right? Because in the teens, then the other half of the 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 elements in there were all this other stuff. And that's the part that they won't be able to quantify. I think it's just enough elements that even the quantum computer isn't going to be able to synthesize. Like if you notice that the flavors of the cartridges haven't gotten any better, right? Most of those are just mixes of the primary terps, right?
Well, that
Right?
the cards that suck because they're just taking, rare raw form THC distillate and shit like that, and
Oh,
now throwing flavors on top of that. So the high's already directional anyway because it's already a fucking 100% THC. It doesn't have everything else with it. Yeah, it has that time, the terpenes there, but it's not a natural combination. It's what man and artificial
You're
terpenes
high, but
are.
it ain't the same.
Yeah.
but I don't think it's
Also,
as simple that they're going to be able to quantify, like, okay, now we figured it out. We only need this amount of this, and all. Like, there's 1,000 things. We're just scratching the surface. Every couple of years, a new term. Oh, it's the esters. It's the flavonoids. There's a lot more to the whole. Like, I saw a thing years ago that said that if you ask people if they had to lose one of their senses, right? They definitely wouldn't take their eyes or their hearing. They think those are the most important ones. But actually, this thing was saying your most important sense is taste and smell, right? which like most people would rate that as okay, I'll give that up. I don't need that. No, that's like the most important thing, and that's what we're talking about here, right? Like
Also,
that's
the
the
like
effect of
where I
cannabis.
used to work, we made the carts, and some terpenes are better, like companies are better than others. So like sometimes you'll use terpenes and they just suck, and then like we found one that like the flavors were just amazing.
Yeah,
Essential
That
oils are
matters
like
as
that
well.
too. You can get garbage and you can get good. You got to really be
yeah.
careful in sourcing.
Yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, most of the terpenes in science, the same with the distillate, they're distillates. So it doesn't matter where you get it. That's what science would tell you, right? It doesn't matter where you derive it. Once it's pure, uh, whatever terp, if we got it from rosemary, if we got it from mint or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's 100% distillate pure.
Yeah.
Because most of the terps put in this stuff doesn't come from cannabis. Okay. The
No, it's
process.
food grade terps. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and the science is trying to tell you that it's all the same,
It's not.
right? It's
No,
It's
not.
it's not.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not. That's one of those things. Of course, they're saying that because that's the most profitable way they're going to do this, right? Because
Otherwise, no one
some,
would want it.
well, and okay, pine is a low cost terpene. Same with limonene because it's they're mass extracted off of like pine and citrus and easy. But okay, one of the most eye-opening things. It was 110 degrees at the Cannabis Cup. I think it was like in 2014 or 15, and they had the panels that were inside air-conditioned little theater. And to duck out, I went into this panel, and it was the guy they called Trichrome Ken Trichrome. He's a legendary guy, OG. And I remember the gasp in the room. This is 2014. We were getting over 4,000 a pound. He said, when weed is only $50 a pound, it's going to be more profitable to grow weed and cold trap and sell the terpenes and see, he was saying terpene. I named my dog Terp. He's still alive. I remember when I named my dog Terp in 2014. It was terpene, but we called him Terp. Most of my grower friends, they didn't. They were like, "What name is that? Where's that?" They didn't. No one heard the word terp. That's
Hmm.
just like 10 years ago, dude. Right?
Wow.
But this guy Ken, he had these little vials that he said they extracted in Israel, pure whatever. And at the end, he said, "Yeah, come up. Now don't stick your nose too close to it. It's gonna be like pepper spray because it's so concentrated." And he was saying back then that some of these terps have value. Like to this day, those are the
Yeah.
most expensive commodities in the world. They're more expensive than platinum, gold, diamond,
Frankincense and a lot of the essential oils are a lot of.
especially the ones that are like
Yeah, the
uh
old school ones out of the Bible, frankincense and myrrh, those go for crazy money.
okay. And this is what he was saying at the time. Like it went over all of our heads. It's taken me years to really comprehend. Oh, this dude was saying it in 2014. He says the thing about cannabis that's different than the other plants that are used for extraction for terpenes that are successful businesses is like rosemary. It puts out these terps. That's it. Mint is almost like cannabis, not quite, but it has a few different profiles, right? But most plants that are used for essential oils have what they have. That's what they grow them for. Cannabis in this 2014 to today, we've seen the explosion of it. We can make cannabis with like an infinite number of terp things. We've had every flavor there is, every kind of candy flavor, every kind of anything. Somebody breeds a plant that produces that. That's because it carries like all the terps. It, it can. It's like the color wheel of all color wheels, right? That's what makes it a rare plant. Not just the medicine, not just the fact that like it's like the catalyst for like no other plants go from A to Z like cannabis does as far as flavors, taste, terps, right?
That's why it's one of the best plants to learn about growing from, because you can see so
Right,
much It's variation, and learn so much about plant like physiology,
And,
how they react
as
to
much as I
environments,
think,
all
yeah,
those little subtle
we
things.
must be getting close to the the end of like how many different flavors we can get out of cannabis. No, because it's infinite. It really is. Like there's probably candies or food or product that'll be created in the future, and then cannabis will somebody will breed a plant that will be like that because it can be done,
Well, the
right?
plant will probably come first.
Yeah, like if we would put all this energy in and didn't have like the reefer madness and the prohibition for whatever it was, 100 years that kept any kind of, and we're still having unleashed. I mean, why federal legalization and more money for research and all that? I guess I'm for that, even though that's probably going to, you know, be at the cost of,
There's always two daggers in that cloak, right?
yeah, I mean, my way of life, okay, but in the future, it could be the answer to so many things, especially I think health. We haven't even scratched the surface, like especially preventatively. Like, oh, you already have cancer? Oh, what if you use cannabis from the time you were a kid or whatever elements in the cannabis that would be, oh, that might be the cure for cancer. Or people don't get cancer, they don't get Alzheimer's because they consume this as a supplement.
And not just cannabis though. That was across the plant spectrum. That's the other thing. It's like that also has been ignored. All of it has been ignored.
Is I almost fucking did it. I'm curious to know how many other stoners have almost burnt their fucking hand with one of these lighters because they want to cup it like it's a fucking lighter.
I never use those lighters in part for that reason.
No, I always use the torch that goes upward, just like uh, almost like a Zippo, basically.
I've singed a few nose hairs with it too because I pride myself on being able to light fucking next to nothing. I'd be driving
With
down the road and have just the fucking tiniest of a fucking piece of weed hang out and be like, click, and get a couple puffs off it. But there's been a couple of times I've tried that with one of these and literally have almost singed the fucking my nose right off. But, them
And it's
fuckers
that
are
blue flame,
dangerous.
right? Not the
Yeah.
red flame. It's that
This,
that
I hate
you
that.
better
Like,
not fuck around and find out color flame. Yeah.
how do you fucking lose things? I got up to
So
let the dogs
those
out, but my lighter's gone.
those raw trays that have like the magnetic lid. I was doing a
Oh,
dab one time. Yeah, it's got like it's almost like just a flat surface, but it sticks onto the tray. But I had it one time and I was doing a dab and I didn't realize my torch was like hitting it. And it like kind of like changed form and it wouldn't stay on the fucking thing anymore. I was pissed. And I heard it too. That was my issue, was like I heard it, but like I just ignored it. I thought everything was good.
like, oh, that's a weird noise. No, I do the same when you, especially if you just hit something and then something like happens around. Just
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah.
yeah, that couple seconds of being like, oh, what's that weird sound going on?
Yeah, exactly. It was just like a
Totally been
second
there,
so
yeah. Or just you're
yeah.
oblivious for a second. Totally guilty, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice till like later. I was like, what the fuck?
No, you're bougie with your raw. I got I'm old school clipboard, you know.
Mm,
Oh, it's censored, sorry, from Zoom, apparently.
yeah.
It's too much stanks, yeah. But yeah, it's
My fa- this is
just
my
good
favorite
old
tray.
clipboard. You know.
You can get them at my local
Yeah, I
head
always appreciate
shop
Trey.
talking
They
about head
get
shops.
yes.
10
Oh
bucks.
shit.
$10. It's a little case like this. It's a little 4x4. You can get them in all your different flavors. And then I'm using the tray right now. It's usually got this and the little
Oh,
tray
that's
that goes
cool.
in there. You can usually close that up, and it's a
Oh, fuck, I
nice
like
little,
that.
yeah. But this is my favorite. I've seen the ones that you're talking about with the magnetic, and I
That
always
sounds cool.
fucking knock that tray off, that magnetic top, and
Yeah,
I get too trusting with it. I get too trusting with it, and
for sure.
something will knock it off. But
No, I
this
like your box there better. That's cool.
this was a find. Actually, I found one. There's one place around me that's got them, but I found them up north. They were actually selling them for 5 up there, and I almost like stocked up on them at that time. I was like, they had a. That's where I got this one. There was a dollar store up north that literally had all kinds of like stoner fucking like. Oh, I remember those. And this is my Toadstone. I love my Toadstone. I for until I got this, I actually had one like a stone I had found and actually hammered a fucking hole through, and that stayed in my pocket forever. But I enjoy a
Awesome.
good
I've
Toadstone.
never. That's cool.
Oh, they're
That
better
makes.
than any
I've seen
filter any
stone
day.
pipes, like
Yeah.
literal, like where it's carved, and that's just as cool. But to just bore like one right through,
Well, people
nice. I've
don't
never. Yeah,
realize, you know, and I had
like a
a
river
guy
rock,
at work
you know.
tell me this at one time. He was actually my boss. I did a short stint in shipping and receiving where I did like fork truck work, and which was awesome. But I got buddies with this guy that was the boss there, and we would go out and smoke blunts. And he had his own little routine. He was like, all right, and he's like, this is what you need to do not get caught. He was like, the clone thing, which a lot of women will know, is like spray it and walk into it to kind of get it all through it. That was step one. And then he'd always make you walk in and wash your hands. He'd be like, man, most people don't realize that a lot of that stinks on your hands from holding the joint and letting the smoke roll through your fingers. He'd be like, hey, Stick, go wash your hands. As soon as we get back in the building, he'd be like, go wash your hands now to get rid of that smell. But the Toadstone kind of alleviates that a little bit because, you know, you don't have that smoke or the
Back
joint
when
directly in your
when it was
fingers.
sticky, icky, and like earlier, like Amy Ace's oiled up weed. Like back when I was a deadhead on tour, it was a sign like you could spot other people. People that smoked a lot of weed, joints and shit, they had like resin stain on their lips
Yep.
almost every time they hit, right? And it was like so much that like even a shower, you still had these like stains and on your fingers. And oh, this is prohibition time, so you stunk a little like weed. But yeah, you had and when you were talking about the torch thing, I was I was at all the high times events for 5 years, and when they started, that was like when the hot dab thing swept the whole scene. And there was like it was like a I don't know what you call it when it's like a guys different people would have like burns on their forearms and shit or like their hands. 'Cause, like, I remember we used to give away free dabs, and these were people. I mean, one of the most beautiful things about it was that they were just people, weed enthusiasts that came to the cannabis events. Not like today where it's just all insiders. There's not that many like regular folk that come to those events. Back then it was. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I've heard about this. This will be my first time." And you'd have to tell them, "Yeah, don't," because you know when you take a bong, you pull the bowl out, or
Yeah.
because people would. And this wasn't like hot quartz. This was hot cane, okay, red hot, right? And you had to, yeah, because people would try to grab the bowl like to, clear it or whatever, right? And yeah, a lot of people had burns. And it was almost
Yeah,
like
they
a
started making
status thing,
like
like
cages for the
yeah,
end for yeah.
when
What
it fucked with all titanium, like it didn't cool down in a minute or two. You know what I mean?
Do not
what
touch
I
higher than grill temperatures. Yeah.
Oh, it's not what I remember. I burned myself real good a few times with fucking dab related tools
Yeah.
and whatnot. But what I remember from again the hot dab era, I love that too. Operation Annihilation, laughing about that. Was I thought that was gonna, if anything, the hot dab era. I thought that was gonna like set us back there for a while. With the torches, I thought that whole thing was gonna. It was a bad look at that
It
point.
still is a bad.
But
It still
we
is a
go,
bad.
we would go to the events and they were serving up hot dabs. You'd watch people go down. They'd go up and fucking hit that thing like nobody's business, and blood pressure would spike, and they'd be like every other person would
And
fucking
I'll tell
damn
you
near
one last
pass
story about
out from hot
that
dabs and
experience.
shit.
Because like we were making first we open blasted, and then we had a closed loop. So like I had shatter, and our booth gave out dabs. That was our thing. It was like it might have been 3 years. Like 3 straight years, maybe even five. From the time the dabs first came in, the hot dabs, because everything was hot dabs, right? Uh, and you literally put the shit on there when it was at its peak red
Globs.
molten lava, right? And I remember Zooey, still my great friend who worked for me for like 15 years. He came to my house, I think it was in 2015 or around 15. Said, "Yeah, have you heard? Right? Oh, there's this thing. Let's try it. It's uh low temp dabs. And yeah, we heated the thing up and let it cool down. Like he said, well, no, give it like 2, 3 minutes. I'll let you know when." And I remember taking my first
Yeah.
cool dab, and the same shit, the shatter that like tasted like this at fucking 2,000-degree molten uh, lava. Oh, I could taste the whole thing. And to this day, I still think to myself, how did it take so long? Because it wasn't like anybody. Like, I don't know the origin, but I'm sure it's probably out here YouTube content where the story of when the first guys said, "Yeah, why are we doing it
Fuck
so
that
fucking
hot shit.
right?"
Right?
Like the whole
Yeah.
thing swept across the whole country. Titanium bowls and shit, right? That had
I gotta
Chinese
go, guys.
knockoff.
My earbuds are dying here. So have a good
All right.
night.
Good
Thanks.
night.
Have a
Thanks
good
for
night. Thanks for popping
yeah.
in.
Guys,
Thanks
nice
for having
chatting
me
with
on, guys.
Yeah, it was great. Uh, the thing was too, because we gave dabs away, so we had to buy the quality titanium, which cost more money because a lot of the cheap shit had little metal flakes that you didn't realize that you were also inhaling.
Exactly.
Right? It was like, but it went on for years. It wasn't like, oh, there was a low temp thing and then a high temp thing,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then when the low
exactly.
temp came
Hot dab
on,
era,
it just
an era.
it just swept the whole thing. Like no one does hot dab anymore, right? Even what's a hot dab is like a third of the temperature of like molten fucking titanium.
Fucking, and you look at a lot of them guys that did all that shit. Like, if you remember on like YouTube, Jolie Oli, he would take those like monster, super hot dabs, 1 grab, 2 grab. Remember that was always a
It's
badge
still
of
a thing,
honor
man.
back then.
Yeah.
I can do a 2 gram dab. Give me that. That dude looks rough, man. Them hot dabs didn't age people too well that went through that and made
At
that
a
a thing.
Seattle High Times event, Swerve and his little MC guy was Adam Ill, who would hype up the booth, right? And they would have a thing where, yeah, they would give you a free pack or something if you could take like a glob. Like it wasn't even a gram dab, it was a glob, right? And most people couldn't do it. It was too hot, they would choke, they couldn't do it. Okay, it was a couple, it was Seattle, I guess you call them whatever. It was a kind of heavy set lady with this. She wasn't a midget, but she was a little girl. Like she might have been under 3.338 or something, 3'8", right? This little tiny girl came up, and they were like, yeah, uh, and she stepped up, and not only did she do the huge glob that Adam put on, her friend came in right at the end as the crowd's cheering and all this. and out of their personal put another glob on. And this littlest person I ever seen in my life took the whole thing, one fucking breath. Like it was the gnarliest thing I've ever seen. And it was red fucking hot. They even kept it, tortured it at the end to keep her going. She just, and the 100 people that were surrounding the booth just were like in a roar. It was like almost like a
Cheering
circus
around.
act. Like I'd never seen anything like it. Like even her lung capacity, if it was just smoke, was like yeah, like in she was only like 3 foot something. You had to see it. There's probably back then video wasn't as big like phones, but no, there's probably some grainy ass footage of this happening because it was spectacular. And I've seen a lot of dabs. We used to have a little table. That was my wife's idea. Roll paper towels and tissue and smaller trash cans. And we warn people because the last couple of years, I stopped doing individual dabs in a rig. I got these things called nectar collectors that basically is just a tube with a titanium rod at the end, right? And we just heat that up and give it to the person, coming up to do the free dab. And we would have slabs. We'd have those silicone mats with like slabs of shatter on it. And we just let them go like bowling for dollars, basically, right? We didn't say, oh, here's a hit, just do that. We'd let them just go in. I think it might have been probably, truthfully, like 1 out of 25 people, and probably 90% of them were guys. I guess they're bogarts or something. Like if you let somebody just have, right, and you'd warn them, yeah, be careful, don't take too much, it's gonna fuck you up. No, there'd be these bogart guys that because that thing was
You don't hear that term too often anymore, buddy. I'm just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you.
Don't
yeah,
go
but
grab
you know
that
the
joint,
type.
my
Like,
friend.
you have them in talk and they smoke the whole thing in one hit. You're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you hot box, whatever. Someone like that. But it's like a person that if you let them have something for free, oh, they're gonna take it. They're gonna take more than they could take, and it would just be a couple seconds. Usually they acted tough and tried to. Oh, next thing you know, the snot coming out their nose, tearing, coughing, just about die, right?
And
Because
somehow, every lesson in life like that, they still don't learn, right?
no, that's still to this day. Yeah, that's a human nature. That's like a personality trait. Somehow there's a certain. I don't know what the percentage is. Maybe it's not as
Snoop Dogg represented that best in Half Baked when they were doing the types of smokers. Remember the guy that just give it up and Snoop Dogg sits down and he's like, "Nah, I just quit yesterday," and he's just cheaping away on it. Hands him back that roach. And he's like, "I'm out, guys."
yeah.
Yeah, that's always to me been the best description of what you're saying right there. But yeah. Yeah, the Bogart, it's funny that how many things like that has been buried, you know what I mean? The whole
Well, that's
phrase
legal,
Bogart,
right?
you know what I mean? That's cannabis right there if I've ever heard it, man. Quit Bogart that joint, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a
Kind
Lou
of my
Reed song. They had this one tour when they would open up the show with well, no, they did Willin', the song Willin', and then they did Don't Go That Joint. And the Pongo player, the black guy, what's his name? He had this real deep voice, and he would say, "Yeah, don't bogart that joint, my friend. Pass it over to me." It's just not.
One of my brother's friends, when we smoked, we'd smoke in a circle or whatever, pass a joint around. He would always hold the joint for so long. And my brother would always be like, "Oh, guard that joint, my friend." He'd finally like pass it.
Like joints aren't meant to there's a pace you smoke them at to get them to smoke good through and through. And some people just don't know how to smoke joints, and it bugs me. Like a lot of times, that's why I don't like. If I pass it in the circle, I don't expect to hit it again because there's always somebody that's gonna like hotbox it, right? And then a lot of times, when it gets back to me, the only remedy for a hotbox joint is to just hold it for like a
Light
minute.
it. Yeah.
Uh, and then other people are like, dude, come on, pass it. I'm like, dude,
Gotta let
like,
it
dude,
cool.
fuck this up. Like, you didn't have to hit it like that. That. And I remember as a teenager, we had party bowls, and this kid Mitch in the neighborhood, dude, he could take the biggest fucking. We would try to take the biggest bong hit of like commercial Mexican weed, like like that was like a. We were teenagers, but that was already like a machisto thing. Like who could take like no one could take a bigger hit than this Mitch guy, right? And I don't bong today, but if I ever do, it's the tiniest snap. I can't take a fucking big bong hit. That would fucking kill me.
I learned that when my dad was the man that raised me for most of my life. I call him my
Oh, your
father.
day.
Was my father, life father, but he was my father. I hated smoking. I had to learn how to smoke hash with him or a bowl. Period, because he didn't know he didn't express bowl etiquette in any type of form. Loved hash, was always his jam, but unless you like broke off a piece of hash and handed him the bowl, what you got was an emperor at that time, basically, because he wouldn't light it and just, good bowl etiquette, light a piece of it, let it kind of like go over, refresh it every time. He would literally just hit that lighter and smoke would probably, you know what I mean? Prime that bowl, smoke regularly rolling out of his ears. He would take it the biggest puff. You just see like a fucking cloud. You can barely see him through the bowl. Just a cherry of it. And he'd hand it back to you and you'd be like, oh man, there's nothing left good in here, man. This is just a hot emperor hash now.
So
Yeah.
wasteful.
When I used to be on Dead Tour, I used to like have Snodgrass sidecar pipes, and like you knew in a circle of heads in the lot, like yeah, when you lived, these were pretty wide bowls, so like you didn't torch the whole green. You like hit the
The
corner and then
corner.
passed it. You know that
Hit
that
the
was like
fucking
etiquette.
corner,
But
dude.
there was always
Etiquette.
the Bogart that like
Basic
took the
Rotation
courtesy.
fucking hit,
etiquette.
Basic
torched the
etiquette.
whole
Basic
fucking
etiquette.
Yeah.
bowl
If
and
you're
then
at your
pass
house
it.
on your
And,
own,
and a lot
blast.
of times I remember this one time where, like, yeah, I had a lot of weed. If that someone did that to the bowl, there's still plenty of weed in it, but I would like spit the fucking cherry out and like load a new bowl because like who wants to hit the fucking like after somebody did
Like,
that and
no,
then
migraines
like
now.
people would
Yeah.
like be like,
You
dude,
can
why are
hear
you
it
wasting
a
it?
little bit out of the
Scoop up the
corner.
fucking ember, right?
Want the
Because
green.
but yeah, that was an etiquette when you smoke. God, that stereo's hot. Uh, um, yeah, you would hit the corner of green. You wouldn't like hit all fucking corners of the bowl and pass it for everybody, first round. But now if there was always that person in the thing, sometimes they were your buddy. I had buddies that were like that, and it wasn't like
Like,
there
why
was
you gotta
something you could
embarrass me, bro, in
explain
the
to them. It was
rotation?
like in their
Fuck,
nature.
right in the middle of
In their
rotation.
nature,
Fucking gotta do this.
you
I
know.
I
fucking
vouched
invited
for
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Corrective behavior immediately. Yeah. You don't have to be a
yeah,
dick about it, but definitely let them know that's not good etiquette.
yeah. Well, that's why I find it most of the time. I mean, yeah, I go to things and smoke with other people, but I pretty much just smoke myself. Like one of my things is I've found when you smoke a joint and you're gonna let some of it go out, you're taking three, four hits. Don't like cherry it or like stamp it out or flick it off. Just let it go out. Because my experience is when you do that, oh, and then when you relight it, it tastes like shit. But if you just let it go out itself, which it will, unlike a cigarette that will just keep burning because they put chemicals in it to do that. Um, yeah, that you relight that joint, it's still. I mean, it's best is to smoke it from head to toe. But like a lot of times, like even since we've been on here, I've rolled a joint. Well, now it's down to the last third, but I've let it go out a couple times and then relight it. But my brother, who I'm living with now, yeah, he's fucking idiot. He stomps it out. Like he'll take a couple hits and then like stamp out the cherry and then I'm like, dude, you're fucking up the joint. Now, some people might
Yeah,
think
dab it
that
like
my
cigarette.
way,
Boom.
but
Yeah,
I
just
don't care. I do my way.
smash it out. Yeah.
Yeah, smash it out. Yeah, no, that's not good.
There is definitely something to that. It does affect the flavor for the next light, 100%. I think the way we smoke cannabis, or at least I know the way I like, so like we're just kind of referencing the Bogart, right? Back in the day, that was the thing. Like when cannabis was like illegal and more rare. Yeah, you didn't hold
Wasted.
it. You hit it and you passed. Nowadays, it's more sociably correct. I don't lie, and to each their own. Everybody, the situation where everybody's got their own. I really believe that it takes away some from the person, the individual, the moment of it. I guess I like the passing of it, but nowadays the difference in like the Bogart theory is I don't rush. There's plenty more cannabis. So when I pass it, you know what I mean? Take your time. When you get your fill, you know what I mean? Then pass it. Because I do believe, like you were saying earlier, buddy, there is kind of a nice rhythm to keeping a joint going. And having some passing
Yeah.
it when you've had your fill, you know what I mean, keeps that rhythm of the joint burning correctly, I think.
You can see it in the ash. You can like each person's freaking like hit, and then it's like, okay,
Like
pass,
the
and
rings
then you
of a
see the
tree
line.
almost,
Yeah,
kind of.
exactly. The the circle of
Little
life, the
bars on your
rotation.
phone.
Yeah.
You know where you're at on your charge, right?
Yeah, I've fallen out of that whole life rotation stuff because I've mostly been on my own, just smoking bowls. But like even like when I was coming out of it, like just passing bowls of like the bong, I would we would do the whole like big bowl piece, right? You know, but this like once like I had a friend that just packed like he bought a snapper, which is what this is, and I picked up that tray from him, and his whole thing was like, I just need one for me and it's greens and I can torch it. I don't need to pack this big bowl, like this big, you know, like rotation thing. It's just me. So that's I picked that up too. Like I like
I've seen a
snappers.
lot
I like
less
to torch.
people.
I totally get it when you're at home on your own. But if I'll pack a party bowl, but I'm not hitting it. Have fun.
Like
Have fun. I'll pack
even
up
when I'm
for
out
my
in
friends for
social
sure.
things,
But I'll
I
need my own
like
stuff. Yeah.
people
I'm the
smoking
same
weed in
way. Very
pipes
personal for me.
seems to have declined quite a bit, right? Like most people have pre-rolls or joints, but like there was a time when bowls were like everybody had a pipe, or not everybody, but a lot
No,
of
I
weed.
had bro,
I hang out
I
with
would carry bubblers in my pocket in high school. So yeah, it
yeah,
would fill
yeah,
like ready bubblers.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
swishing.
still have some glass collection. I don't. I haven't used. I can't even think the last time I hit on a pipe. I do dabs in a dab rig, uh, but like I don't do bong. Haven't done bong in forever. I just smoke joints.
I
That's what
haven't
I
done a
like.
bong in a
Now
long time
I
either. I miss.
remember as a teenager bringing home like the
Brother,
latest fucking acrylic bong and all these different bongs and smoking with my
had
dad.
this 15
Who
years,
my dad
14
used to
actually,
call
That's
21.
a
joints
good
Nice
numbers.
one.
one.
Yeah.
He used to just use zigzags and roll numbers. He called them. They were joints. And as a up and coming teenager, and I smoked with my dad since I was 13. Yeah, he didn't. All the apparatus I had didn't impress him. Okay, he's like, God doesn't take my number. And then, sure enough, as I got older and matured, I don't know when. Probably in my 40s, I just smoked joints. I don't. I don't hit those at anything else. I don't like it. I guess a good pipe would be all right, but not a bong. Like I don't like the bong hits are like
That's
one.
totally
I
fair,
smoke
man.
cigarettes, and
Yeah.
when I suck on something like that, it makes me cough. It's like it make it. It doesn't. I can hit throwing hit after hit, and
The great
and I
expectorant. Bring up
yeah.
all the
Well,
crap.
dabs are that. Like since I smoked cigarette and I have congestion from it, there are times when the reason I decided I got fucking Top Wilson fucking
Super.
rocket. Uh, yeah, I do a couple dabs, and even on a little of the high side, right? Tank wise, yeah, it is an expert. I can't pronounce that word, but yeah, next thing you know, it's uncomfortable, and I don't like putting my body through 15 minutes of like trying to get my breath back.
Coughing spasms, yeah, I hear that. I don't like
Like,
doing huge bong hits
and,
either.
and to be honest,
No,
like
no,
I
that's
don't
why I
want
do
to.
this. That's why I specifically say I just need a snapper,
Just a
and then
little
I don't
ping.
need it to fucking fill up for two
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Just
no,
a
no,
quick
no, fill
ping.
up,
Yeah,
drink the
yeah,
milk.
yeah.
Well,
Boom.
like
I'm
that's
good for a
why
while.
Yeah,
some
Roll.
of
Yeah.
these city
exactly. That's
boys
why I'm not like
that
I don't.
that
Also,
That's my version of a J. And then I'm
yeah,
good. It's like the
that
version of like
became
the midpoint between a J and a dab. You know,
yeah.
like
like
certain
the
dabbers that become so like whatever they say. Oh, I don't smoke non-processed.
voodoo man,
Like right,
Memphis,
they don't smoke. Oh
Oregon.
yeah, well yeah, but
Oh, it's up in
okay,
LA. Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to
right
just get out of
here
town,
on
man.
the corner of La
I need to
Brea and
fucking get out of my
Melrose,
house.
and
That's obviously a good donut. When somebody else sees the package, it's just like, oh
Oh,
let me tell
bacon donut. Bacon
you,
donut. That's all I
my
have to
my
say.
niece Tessa, who she grew up in Portland and she first started working for Voodoo
Dead
up there, and
bacon.
then she transferred to the one right up walking distance. She walks to work. She doesn't do the counter. She goes in at 4 to like midnight or something and makes the donuts. And every night, this is yesterday, she comes home with a box, trash. Uh, yeah, she works making all the donuts for years now. Um, I eat a couple of donuts a day. Probably isn't the best.
I was
I try to
putting
eat a couple of donuts a week. But now that there's fresh donuts here, every morning I wake up, there's a
I
couple of
mean,
fresh donuts here.
probably.
I was putting a fucking some extra pounds on when I was working down in Lake Orion down there. Uh, fucking found this fucking old school. Well, it was a donut shop, and you walked in, and it was. And this was gonna sound probably terrible, really. Uh, you walked in, and it looked like a baking shop, like straight out of the '70s. Like they closed this bakery down in the fucking '70s, and they ain't done shit to it since, but reopened it. So it's totally got this like grandma like vibe to it as soon as you walk in. And you walk in, there's just this big old counter, or ancient counter, by the way, like donut counter, you know what I mean? And just full of these beautiful donuts, and you expect like some like old lady to come out. And this young Oriental couple run the place, and they make the best fucking donuts. And we were stopping in there every fucking morning, and man, I get a fucking cream filled donut, and that thing, you fucking you grab it, and it'd be still warm, and it would practically like melt in your hand just by like touching it from the heat, and you'd bite into it. That fucking oh man, it was like
So it's interesting you say that, Eagle, because they actually have like it. I don't remember what the method is called, so that sucks. But yeah, uh, the Korean donuts in like California, like that's a whole different donut than Dunkin' Donuts, Krispy Kreme.
Oh yeah,
It's
no.
it's you know the difference.
oh
Well, I
It's
yeah.
a
think they're
whole
all like
different
different
method. I don't know
aficionados.
how they do it. I'm not saying yeah. I just know it's different, and you fucking know that don't
Over the
like
years,
we have
wherever I
yeah.
lived in SoCal, the best donut shop are run either Korean Asians. Like
We
they make
got
the good
yeah
donuts.
we got
DT
one in
Donuts,
my
maybe in
town.
Santa Monica.
Been
Uh,
supporting it
yeah.
for my family's been supporting it since like '88. Like
Yeah.
but they've been there. Like
Here we have a
Now,
local
they're
farm
not going
stand.
making a
anywhere.
good
They're
donut isn't
yeah.
isn't that complicated. But what I think it's come down to today, like everything in food, ingredients.
When it's
Like,
done well by a professional, it doesn't
yeah.
look complicated, but that's just it.
And
They got
like
it
even
fucking
voodoo
down.
donuts, yeah, they make the icing too thick
They
and it's
make it look easy.
too much sugar. Where I like a glazed donut, I like a chocolate cake donut, but not to where it's like, oh, I want to scrape half that icing off and then it might be good. Where I notice a lot of the popular donuts today are
I've
just
had
too.
some good Krispy Kreme. I'm not knocking it, Krispy Kreme
Yeah, but
donuts.
they're
But
sweet.
you
They're
have to have certain flavors. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a whole different.
even their
Out of all
regular
the
glazed
processed
donut.
stuff, I
It's
would
just
mark
like
that as like
gives you
higher.
like an
Okay.
OD of sugar right away. Where a proper glazed donut, yeah, it has its glaze on it, but it's not like I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like I love sugar, but there's
Oh,
like a
dude, I had
point
an
where
apple
it's too
fritter
much too
from
fast.
my local place. Oh,
Oh yeah,
yes,
those
like
are good.
I made it in time. Like I didn't make it in time for a bear claw, but an apple fritter.
I was gonna say, we have a
Yeah.
local farm stand near here that does cider donuts in the fall. And
Oh yeah, I'm always
I
good.
haven't had any of
real
that, so
donuts.
I'll keep an eye out for that flavor.
And
You
I
know,
don't know, but I know that in my lifetime, the crutch of when French fries aren't as good, donuts aren't as good, like is when they made them change the oil, and they said that the old oil was
They
like,
stopped using tallow and started using seed oils. Exactly.
yeah, and then nothing's like even McDonald's that made good fries. Oh no, they're not that great anymore. They because I think it's because of the oil. They changed the oil, and then
They went from tallow to peanut oil.
yeah,
we talked to you. You mentioned the apple cider donuts and stuff right there. You know, at one point, this is gonna kind of put together two things we talked about tonight: is the micro business, micro side of cannabis, and the donuts, the apple orchard side of things. I always thought that that would be a genius business model in cannabis to have a like that set up to where at the end of the season you came in, there was like pony rides through the cannabis field, or if you come early enough, you could tag it. You know what I mean? This is mine. I'll pick it up after it's harvested in
Christmas tree
30
model. I
days.
like that.
Yeah, you go in, you fucking sample all everything they got right there in the little cider mill, all the different cannabis products, but make it just like you would cider. You make it a family. You probably, you get a family friend thing where you get a group of you and you make a day of it. You walk through the fucking field, you look at
yeah,
the
now
buds and
now
fucking,
now you
you
mentioned
know.
Apple. But like my life, I've gone from San Francisco up into Mendo 1,000 times, and there's a bunch of family farm vineyards that have their little tasting rooms and stuff. And over the years, most of those have fallen, to the big corporate wine, and a lot of them aren't there anymore. A few are that, and they're small. They're like a few acres. They got their grapes, right? A lot of times the tasting, because friends of mine, that's how they make their living, working for those places. You go and taste the wine, and then you sign up for like the seasonal boxes and it depends when you go there. Sometimes it's the wine is right there, but a lot of those are fallen repaired. Some of those beautiful fucking uh, vineyards, right? But a vineyard isn't much different than a cannabis field, right? Right. And in California, we're like, 30 some years into the cannabis uh, law thing, since 215. Yeah, no, our governor wouldn't sign to allow somebody, numerous people have tried to get that kind of permit to turn, even like me, I'm at farmers market twice a week and I look at all the booths of everything from honey to yeah, whatever, all the agricultural. No, no, cannabis can't be sold there. Why not? Like that's where, like, why can't a farmer show up, pay his booth fees, pay his taxes or whatever for the money you sell, and have cannabis sold in farmers markets? Like, why isn't that part of the system? No, they're like staunchly against that. Anytime there's been any kind of political or lobby or whatever it takes to try to get that, nope. Governor, this year, our governor said no, right? To farmer, white
California,
cannabis.
you said, right?
Yeah, where
Yeah,
like,
I'm not
yeah,
surprised given the governor.
yeah, well, and but thing is it's not just this governor, because I think what it really comes down to with all politicians is, where do they get their money and their funding? They get
Money.
it from
It's always
big
money. Yeah.
conglomerates, their political money, and they do what those people want, right? That's the deal. That's the covenant, right?
You want
Uh,
the cushy life, you play the game. Yep.
you play the game, and like when you look at Newsom, yeah, like even this thing I found out last year, this blonde lady that's the head of our CBB, right? That has completely failed in so many ways. Even the revenues, like Michigan has better tax revenue than California. We have like 5 times the population. All right, something's wrong with that picture. But okay, so Newsom has had what they call like a chief of staff, basically. It's his buddy from fucking high school that's been his whole career. Dude's in his 60s, right? He's been in politics a long time. And his right hand guy, his chief of staff, it's his wife who runs the cannabis thing for the state. She was appointed. Her resume, she has no business running that. She had no business. Like, she has no resume to say she should run this, and it's obvious in the way things go. And you would think at first, well, that'd be good, because that would mean if this lady sees something that needs to be done to improve the cannabis business, which could be a huge thing in California. We have an international brand, the California Nugs, right? Whatever. Uh no, but the opposite has gone on, because, oh no, Newsom is working for the other side that's trying to devalue cannabis across the board for the conglomerate period, where they come and buy up market share and squeeze everybody out once and for all, which is like, oh, that's part of this federal changing the uh, scheduling is going to bring in. That's what all the investors are waiting for. And then there could be a national brand. That's where the money is. And
It's
once,
financial chess. Yeah.
yeah, right. And to what all the politicians, both sides, unless we elect somebody that isn't beholden to that system, well, that's impossible, right? You know, like, I mean, maybe it's not impossible, but it's very improbable.
Now they get
It's,
bought out and threatened both.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And if worse comes to worse, they'll just take them out. Like
Everyone's
that's,
disposable. Remember that. Play the game, right?
yeah.
That's the whole.
I think I didn't support him, and a couple of my friends were really hardcore Bernie. And I know Bernie said, um, yeah, it's Citizens United. Unless we do something about it, this is what's going to happen. He said that fucking a long time ago. And yep, that's the law that enables corporate, or now conglomerate. Like, part of this is, we used to have a Justice Department to go after monopolies. We have conglomerates. A conglomerate is like 1,000 times bigger than a monopoly. Okay. Like, that Kroger owns 90% of all grocery stores. Okay, that's bigger than a monopoly. Okay.
Well, and then there's the intertrading between corporations and between federal
Yeah.
agencies. Like, work for the FDA, then work for Monsanto, then work for the FDA, then
Oh
work
yeah,
for.
no, there's
Oh,
it's
no,
all
no interest
all
conflict
this.
here at all.
Yeah, we know all this shit. This isn't like they used to be able to hide and bait and switch and manipulate. No, now, like, anybody that's like got any sense of fucking reality can see all these things. Like, wait, the writing's on the wall. What don't you see? But
Well, all you got to do
somehow,
is look at that corporations of the world map. It's like 7 corporations control all
yeah,
the corporations on the planet.
yeah,
7.
like Bayer. There's questionable that Joseph Bayer, the doctor of fucking Hitler himself, company survived even post-war Germany, right? Like, that's one of the companies that might have, because most things that had ties to Nazis were eliminated. Right?
We also had
Bayer,
Operation Paperclip. We brought 1,000 German scientists over here after
yeah,
that.
okay, but Bayer was a relatively small company in the sector that it was. It made aspirin, it made a few things, but there were bigger, bigger
They made
companies.
a six
But
merger about 10 years ago with
yeah, that's what happened. Like,
Monsanto and
yeah, Monsanto doesn't
Syngenta
even
and a
exist.
bunch of other,
Bayer
the
exists,
three others.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
huge
But
conglomerate. Exactly what you're talking about.
somehow Bayer's become the super conglomerate, right? Bayer, the smaller of the companies that it acquired, which I don't know how all that works, meaning they basically chose Bayer to become the super conglomerate. I read a thing last year, it's long, 70% of the shelf space at Home Depot, Lowe's, True Value, is the shelf in the store is all bare. Every product wasn't always that way, but no, every product, whether it's branded this, that, the other, is bare. They
Wow.
bought all those companies, right? Okay, that's a monopoly. That. Hey, I only went
I
through
had
eight
always
waves.
knew and heard that Bear was like a dangerous company like that, but I've always just related that to the pharmaceutical industry. I've never really taken it to like Home Depot and shit like that.
Oh
That's
no,
No,
they're
Yeah, I
everywhere.
that's
didn't
wait,
realize.
Plumbing
but it's
supplies,
that's how it got its footing,
TV,
was in that,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that makes
it was
sense, right?
able
The
to get the
bigger you
money
get,
to do
yeah, the bigger
and
everything
you get, the
but
more
to
funding
the,
you
spread
have
its
to
web.
throw your
I
weight around as a
sometimes
corporation. It's just, it's
when
like
I'm
a
in
big fight
public
every fight.
to try to bring
Public
this
trading,
point
man.
home to regular people, explain to them this. Kroger, Kroger, I don't know, they were one of the grocery stores, but they became the conglomerate of grocery stores. They own Vons, they own Albertsons, they own Kroger, they own Foods for Less. In your town, there might be different brands. Kroger owns all of them. Okay, that's why the food prices and there's no more sales. The reason that Vons or whatever it's called in your area sold soda for X amount of 12 pack was because Albertson, they competed against each other. And when one store lowered the price to lure people in, the other store was forced to do the same. And that's how we had deals. If you notice now, there's no more deals. Okay, right? Why would there be deals? Once they're a conglomerate or monopoly like that, they don't compete against each other, right? They're not competing. Okay, well, that breaks the element of what makes capitalism a healthy system. It's fair
There's still some deals, but there's like
oh
now
no,
I'm
but they're
seeing a
very
lot of
manipulative.
like oh yeah, like deals, like, oh yeah,
Yeah, buy
this is
five,
this
buy
price. Like,
five.
no, that's what the price was before.
Yeah, buy five
This isn't a
creamers and you can
sale.
have
This
it.
is you
I
just
just need
moved
one
where it
creamer,
is now.
right? But there used to
Yeah,
be
there's way more of that for
just
sure.
a few years ago, because this all happened recently. Congress could have stopped it. There was a certain thing that stopped some of it. That's why they don't have 100%, right? I don't think they got roused, right? But there was this period where right under our noses, they became one company. Oh, well, that's the end of grocery prices ever being reasonable. And some of this would be those companies would tell you that they were going to go under because Walmart was kicking their ass. Now isn't even Walmart's not that cheap anymore. I know I like Yoplait yogurt. Walmart charges more
Walmart's
for you.
scrambling against Amazon now.
Yeah, I mean, so and Amazon's its own conglomerate of massiveness. And until we break up these things, then we're fucked. That's the thing that like, and we're those entities aren't going to let anybody do that. They're too
So
powerful.
Walmart's a rarity there. I mean, most of the companies mask themselves, like you spoke of before, like Kroger. They change the mask in different regions, so
Yeah,
people aren't standing up going, "This is bullshit. Kroger's running everything." So they
Ralph's
tend to
yeah.
break it
all the
up so they
time.
look like they're not you know what I mean,
No,
running the whole
the
market.
laws haven't changed on what they call antitrust laws. They just aren't being enforced. They went after a few tech companies that even their penalties, Windows and Apple and shit, guarantee you they would do it again because the amount of money they made over the 20
They
years they
make
got
more
away,
anyway. Yeah.
right? This was like,
The
okay,
penalty is
we
just an
paid out.
operating cost.
It's just operating costs, and we live in this world where, yeah, those companies have, and in the last 10 years, I think it's all been. It didn't happen overnight, dude. You know, what I mean, this ain't like, oh, it's all fucking Trump's doing. No, he inherited this thing that was already well entrenched. We were like way deep in this shit, you know, like both sides. Like there's no side, right? Like I say, it's yeah. I mean,
Convenience.
ultimately, eventually, we're all
Traded
gonna
it
go
all for
through some shit
convenience.
because this ain't gonna end with like, oh, we turned it around and now we're back on track. We're past that point. Like some kind of pain and suffering is coming. It's like, you know, like depression, food, this bread lines, something. No, no
Well,
fuel,
guys,
no water.
I hate to do this, but I'm just kind of looking over and realizing I've got about like
I'm
4 hours into this
I'm on it.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
Uh,
always
I
good.
was I was gonna
but
call it
tomorrow's
out
another
once when I
day.
was just cheers.
Sorry, bro.
No, no. I was just agreeing with you. Um, I'm all it on my end to just start the rotation. Yeah, I'll spark up the rotation. I won't take the whole fucking thing. But yeah, Raptor Grow. Cheers. Hope you all have a good night. Take care.
Have a good one.
Cheers,
I'll
Rep.
go next.
Cheers, Eagle.
Just say,
Cheers, buddy.
yeah, cheers. It was a good conversation, and y'all just keep up the fucking good energy. That's how we overcome whatever you're going through.
Thanks for hosting us, Eagle. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Nice to see you as well, buddy. I'm glad you popped in. It has been in a minute. And it's nice to see you're doing well. And I hope it's not so long before I see you again.
Now that I got it in my new phone, I better come on when, yeah. Maybe you'll be on early and I'll be at one of the Super Garden. I'll show you some fucking high tech shit.
That'd be sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Have a good weekend, dude.
You too. Thanks again. With that being said, thank you guys very much for hanging out as well. Man, did time fly. It was a fun and great conversation this evening. I super enjoyed it. We will be doing the no guest for tomorrow for the fucking talking shit with Eagle. I have got a few people on the hook. I've just got to put some schedule some put the pen to paper basically and get everybody lined up. But tomorrow, Weed Nerd World in place of. I'll probably try to come in a little bit earlier. Show's usually 9 o'clock. I may come in about 8 o'clock, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on how the day goes. But I greatly appreciate you guys continuing to hang out. If you could tell somebody about the show, hit that thumbs up, all that good shit. I hate to ask, but trying to push the show forward here in 2026. Spread it out on multiple platforms. Try to get everything updated as far as I can. And basically, I'm asking your help to push this thing forward. So if you could, hit that likes up button, share, all that good stuff. I would greatly appreciate it. But until then, till tomorrow, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives.